Patrick takes the snap, drops back, lobs it back right corner. Decker! He's got it! Touchdown! Eric Decker scores! And the Jets have won it in overtime!
This is the Jet Take with Ben Blessington and Kyle Fahey.
Welcome back to another episode of the Jet Take. I'm your host, Ben Blessington. Kyle Fahey is currently trying to get on the line. He's having some minor technical difficulties, but this is such a big show. We're just going to go ahead and get started. He'll join us when he can. First things first, the draft is tomorrow. It's the big day, and we'll talk all about that. But in addition to that, we have a very special guest. We're going to get to him right away. Darron Lee, starting middle linebacker for the New York Jets and 2016 first-round pick. So I feel like this is a timely interview. Darron, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Appreciate you having me.
Well, thanks for coming on. I guess first things first is just how's your offseason been going in preparation for this year? Obviously, it's been a few months since the end of 2017, and you're just starting to head into offseason workouts and whatnot. How's it all going?
It's all going well, actually. I'm actually excited to get back with the guys, even though we've had some time off. But for me, it's been very productive. And then for the 2 weeks we've been here. To say it's been really, very, very progressive with the guys, getting things going in the right direction.
Sounds awesome. And Darron, we'll go back just a bit. A few years ago, coming out of high school, Darron, you were a dual-threat quarterback. You were a three-star athlete, a dual-threat quarterback and a safety. What was that transition like once you got to Ohio State, switching positions and turning more into a versatile hybrid linebacker?
Yeah, absolutely. Going from an offensive guy to going to a full-time defensive guy, being a former offensive guy, you have to follow your priorities, do what's right for the team. But on the journey of, becoming, the playmaker that I was in college, it was a very, very strenuous process, because I obviously didn't have a body going into it. So I had to obviously train, the nutrition part, becoming, getting bigger. That wasn't easy. It was fun looking back on it, but it wasn't easy. So I think, obviously Coach Mick, who I had at Ohio State, for getting me right. But, just that, learned different techniques and whatnot. I give credit to, a lot of my guys there, my linebacker room there at Ohio State, because, they helped speed up the process for me to go out there and make plays. But, for changing my body and whatnot, wasn't the easiest, but I had a lot of fun with that. And looking back on it, it paid off.
Yeah, and that's something that you've had to do kind of throughout your career. Even when you got to the Jets, at Ohio State, you played a lot of, a 4-3 kind of edge guy. You played a little bit inside, but when you come to the Jets, Todd Bowles wanted you to be that inside linebacker. Speaking of the Jets, can you take us through your draft process, specifically with them? Did you have any sort of indication that if you were on the board, you were going to be the guy? Just can you kind of take us through that whole process from the time you declared to the time your name was called as the Jets pick?
Yeah, so the Jets were actually one of my visits out of all my draft visits. Great visit and whatnot, and so they told me if I'm there, they'll take me. At the time, I was hearing a lot of buzz that I might end up in Atlanta, and so being you don't know where you're going to go. It's just there's a lot of mess because in reality, no one really knows where you're going to go. It's just all speculation at that point. So for the guys, for the guys don't even get picked yet right now, I already understand the type of anxiety you got going into tomorrow. So I remember that part a lot, but I do remember, Coach Bowles saying if I was there, they'd take me, and that was like, you're just thinking, it was like, man, I don't know, I really don't know what's going to happen. You never know what type of trades are going to happen. So, that day came, and then, I was right there at 20, and they picked me, and I was like, holy crap, they weren't lying. And I remember Coach Bowles called me on the line. He's like, I told you we were going to get you. And I just had the biggest smile on my face. I was super excited, and I'm very blessed to be part of this organization.
Yeah, that must have been such an awesome moment when you got your name called. But, speaking of you coming out as a rookie, a lot of the concerns with you as a prospect were people called you undersized. How did you kind of use that as motivation? Because it's very evident when you watch you play. You definitely play with a chip on your shoulder. Just how did you use the undersized criticism as motivation in your game?
Used everything as motivation, man. Just a lot of people saying, oh, it'll be a bust, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's the Jets, whatnot, and but the undersized thing, I got a lot of flack in that for college, and I didn't really think it really affected me that much at all. I was still able to make plays. You get to to the next level, and the whole process is to devalue you anyways. That's what they kept telling us. But so it's always going to tell you something you can't do or something that you're not very good at. And for me, it's just okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like there's guys who play other positions that aren't ideal size, and they do just fine. So I just it didn't really get to me. I knew I was going to go out there and attempt just to do my best and to help my team win. So it was one of those things like I hear you talking, but whatever. I'm still go out here and do my thing.
Yeah, and speaking of, you got to the Jets, you made that transition, you're playing a lot of middle linebacker, and you're kind of a new hybrid type of linebacker, as you mentioned. Some could call it undersized, but you use that speed and athleticism to your advantage. Your head coach, Todd Bowles, how is he as a coach? Because I think a lot of fans don't really get a good gauge on who he actually is as a coach. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of give our listeners insight into, is he an emotional, vocal leader, or is he pretty much what you see in the sidelines?
Obviously, you see him, calm, cool, and collected on the sidelines, but what a lot of people don't see is the fire. And if you love this game, and I mean genuinely love this game and are passionate about this game, you understand Coach Bowles' fire, period. He's played in this league before, and just listening to him talk, you don't really need him to say much if you genuinely care about this game. You don't need him to be the rah-rah guy. That's our job. We do that. We do all the hype stuff, but calm, cool, collected, and focused. And knowing knowing the game backwards and forwards, that's who he is. For me, because I'm a passionate guy, I don't need him to get me riled up or be a rah-rah. I don't need that. I want to learn I want the knowledge, just a little stuff I can help add to my toolbox to go out there and to go to work on Sundays. And for me, it's just being a sponge for him. The crowd. I know the people. Is he? There's no emotion. I'm like, well, it's not his job to have emotion. We got the emotion. The players lead this. We lead this team, and it's great. I'm blessed to have him as a coach and with our coaching staff. So I'm very, 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 very excited for what's in store for us.
Hey, Darron. Thanks for coming on. Sorry I'm a little late. Had technology issues. Technology was not on my side tonight.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm Kyle. You may have heard me in the intro. I wanted to know, what was your welcome to the NFL moment as a rookie?
Welcome to the NFL moment. I would say we were in a 2-minute drill practice, and I felt it was a high-low. It was a high-low route, and I bit the cheese. And it was third. I think it was the third or fourth down call, but I bit the cheese on the under route, and they hit the over route right behind me with Brandon Marshall. We had Fitz at the time, and Fitz they hit one right behind me, and they ended up winning the 2-minute drill. And all I could hear once the ball was thrown, all I could hear is Brandon Marshall saying, "Yep, don't bite the cheese, Brooke." And ever since then, I haven't bitten the cheese, but that was a good technical standpoint for me, and a good learning experience. Because believe it or not, a lot of teams have tried that throughout the season, but that was good for me to learn that right there, and thinking I knew everything, thinking I was going to go ahead and make a play, and then next thing you know, I'm going to end up costing the defense. So I would say that would be one. I would say that'd be one in a practice standpoint. In a game, that's tough. I don't know. I think there's a lot of examples for that, but I'd say that'd be my first one, would be in practice with Fitz and Brandon Marshall.
You brought those two veteran guys up, and I think that ties in well to veteran leadership and, as a rookie in the NFL. What was it like, coming into the locker room and then onto the practice field? What did you learn from veterans like Fitzpatrick, a guy who has been in the league for a long time, to say the least? Same with Brandon Marshall, and then obviously some guys on defense. What did you learn from those guys?
That you got to really put in the work, and not just when you ever think it's enough, you can always do some more. Just add an extra to your work. So for me, it's like, adding the extra accents and extra, details, like on a cake. So say like you're making a cake, and you just want to add those extra details to make sure it's a high-quality cake. And I would say that's me, just paying attention to the details to my game. I think that's the main thing that they emphasize for me, and that if I keep emphasizing on the details and where that's going to take me in this league, it'll have you playing for an extremely long time. And so that would be my main thing I took from my game my rookie year, is everybody's telling me to harp on the details if you want. Not only do you want to be great, but if you want to have longevity in this league.
Yeah, and Darron, coming out of your rookie year, you changed your number, you kept honing your craft. I mean, you were injured for part of your rookie year, so obviously you were looking forward to making that big jump your sophomore year. How did you guys handle that? This past season, all of the negative energy from the media talking about, are the Jets going to tank, and how when we interviewed Austin Safarian-Jenkins in August, he was talking about it, and he quite frankly was just like, that that's bullshit. Basically, how did you guys as a locker room feel about what the media was saying?
We didn't care. We weren't hearing it, honestly. You see it, whatever, on whatever ticker, whatever is on the bottom, whatever on Sports Show or not, but we didn't really care. That wasn't us. It wasn't really us, like, oh, let's just go out and prove the media wrong. It was just, let's go out and prove to ourselves that we belong. And I think that was our chip last year. We proved ourselves. We were in a lot of the games that we were in last year. But the media, no, we weren't really caring about that. There wasn't one moment where we weren't sticking together. No, we were a unit all the way through and through. But no, the media would sit here and say, the media is saying, you're tanking. That never came across. That never came in our minds. We were trying to win every single game we went out and played last year. So I think that was a common misconception with us, or having the media affecting us. Like, no, man, we didn't care. Half of us that last year didn't even like the media, and nobody cared about that.
Yeah, and, speaking of, nobody cared about that, there's been a bit of a culture shift for the Jets in these past 2 years. Can you kind of speak to that? And, you came from a winning pedigree at Ohio State. Would you say there's any sort of similarities in between the pedigree that the Jets are attempting to build and the well-established football program that you came from in college?
Yeah, absolutely. But I would say, the mentality when we was in college is to win a championship, and that's our mentality now. I feel like that should be the only goal. Like, that's why we do this. That's why we come out and play. I don't really care. Me personally, I don't really care what went on in the past. All I know is what the end goal is to win a championship. And, last year, like I said, it was kind of proving to ourselves that we belong. But, we had to really, really readjust that very quickly. We're here to win championships. Regardless if you believe it or not, the public believes it or not, who gives a crap? We care, and that's what we believe in, and we're going with that process, and we're taking steps in that process every single day. So, I think that was a little bit of a different thing. We didn't have, can we go for the championship, or can we win the Super Bowl? I thought there's a lot of confusion and a lot of gray amongst the locker room, and I don't think that's the case now anymore.
Darron, you're bringing up the locker room and sticking together as a team, and Ben brought up a culture change. And one of the more physical and evident changes has been in ownership, not in paper, but as in a face. And I guess the new owner, Christopher Johnson, who's always been a part of the team, but more the face now. Can you speak on, what he was doing coming into the locker room throughout this season? He's obviously been pretty vocal about what he wanted to do this entire offseason and just throughout most things so far.
Yeah, him popping his face in the locker room, on game day and before the game, and see him around the facility now. To me, it's really cool. I like it. He embeds himself within the team. He talks and interacts with a lot of the guys, and he feels really part of the team, and seeing his face around a lot. Because I don't think I really saw. I saw him bits and pieces my rookie year. Really saw him a lot last year, and just having him here around, a lot this year. Seeing him every day since he's been back. To me, that's really cool. It feels like he's on, going through this storm and going through this on the ship with us, and that means a lot. And I appreciate everything that he's done for me and for the team, and that we continue to do. Really, really, really appreciate him a lot.
That's great to hear, seeing as he's signing checks at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So I think that's going to bode well for you. That was a perfect answer. Obviously, this has been a very eventful offseason for the Jets, but sticking to you personally, what have you been doing this offseason?
Me this offseason, definitely been, just working on footwork and then working on the weaknesses parts of my body. Just focusing a lot more on my weaknesses. Whether that be physically, if I'm mentally thinking on the mental side with ball, just seeing things differently, putting in that overtime, really. And I'm just doing it, that's double the workouts. Before we got back, I was doing 2 workouts a day, sometimes 3, just making sure I get right and I, just have, not just say per se a breakout season, because I feel like anybody could have that, but just definitely going out and establishing ourselves and helping win ball games and winning these ball games. Definitely just doing a lot more on my end for that, and it's just the little things and honing on the little things and honing in on the little details, or say that honing in on getting better on those twitch muscles and stuff and those drills and stuff, so I can go out and be quicker on breaks in the game and getting picks. Don't have a pick yet, so I need one badly, and when I get the ball, I know when I get a pick, it's got to go to the crib. That's just my MO.
Absolutely. We need one. Haven't had a defensive touchdown
since 2013.
Yeah.
Antonio Allen, Antonio Allen's pick 6 at Tom Brady.
And I'll, shout out to AA, man. I miss that guy. I remember him my rookie year, but you absolutely, man, got to get a defensive touchdown, and I'm pissed off for it, so I'm going to make sure it gets done.
Darren, if you get it, you got to shout us out, though. You got to, do something in the end zone. You got to be like, hey, the Jets, hey.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'll definitely make sure I get you guys a shout out. I'm going to try to make sure it comes out in a creative way, too. So,
awesome.
You guys like it for sure, man. I got you guys.
Well, thank you, Darren. Darren, speaking of this season, I mean, obviously this is a big year for you. Year 3, you're kind of accepting more of a veteran role, which might sound weird to you since, I mean, to me at least, it sounds like you were just drafted. Obviously rookie year you had David Harris. This past year you had Demario Davis. This year it's you, and then the Jets have brought in Avery Williamson, who I think really fits your skill set quite nicely. Kind of talk about this year and your expectations for it, you as a leader, your pairing with Avery Williamson, and then I guess the team as a whole. Yeah,
definitely this is more of the year of the guys that came in with me and a couple guys, with Leo's year. This is really like our team. You had other guys here that have been here before, like Demario and Dave. Their team, you know what I mean? I had to just take notes, and in order to be a great leader, you got to learn how to follow at some point. And so for me, I felt I've had my training wheel years, and now it's time to take over. And, a lot of guys, to back me into that, back me up on, leading the charge, because this is a players' team. Coaches aren't leading nothing. This is us, and this is what we do. We have our group of leaders on this team that are getting things going in the right direction, and we want to make sure that things keep going in the right direction, but it falls on us, no one else. So it isn't necessarily just like, an individual here. No. Group of leaders right here, what we say, what we're going to do, we're going to do it, and we're going to establish, what we want to do going forward. And making sure everyone gels and meshes, but, I think we got the team. I think we have a group of guys now as a team as a whole that all believe in that goal and bringing the championship back. And to me, that's really cool for especially me on the defense. I'll be having the mic this year, so I'll be saying the plays to the guys in the huddle, and that's super exciting. That's different than what I've had in the past. This year, obviously, we got Avery. I'm actually testing Avery right now. Trying to see if he wants to go to Top Golf with me.
Oh, you should tell him to come on the Jet Take.
Yeah, you should tell him about the Jet Take. Yeah.
So thirsty.
I'm shouting you out right now, like, yo, man. But he's cool, man. He's from Tennessee too, so it's good. Tennessee Titans, but he's actually from the state of Tennessee, just like I am. So me and him, we hit it off. He's mad cool, and I look forward to him coming out and making plays for us. A lot of them.
Yeah, that's great to hear. As Jets fans, we'd love to have both our linebackers having that chemistry. All right, so Darron, let's switch gears here. Kind of the last kind of segment of our interview. We promised we've gotten maybe 5 tweets asking about the uniforms. We will ask that at the end. We will ask that at the end, but we want to talk a little bit about the draft. Quite a few of your former Ohio State Buckeye teammates coming out, specifically Sam Hubbard. Jalen Holmes, Taekwon Lewis, I believe. So quite a few Buckeyes. Do you have anything you'd like to add about those guys and their stock? They could potentially be Jets, but just kind of them as teammates and people as a whole.
As teammates, I mean, those are my boys, man. Like, you just named some names like Taekwon. I was in the trenches with Taekwon. I mean, we were getting our asses kicked as freshmen. It was me, Taekwon, Tracy Sprinkle. Sam wasn't there yet. Even Eli. We were on the scout. Oh, Gary Conley too. We were on the scout team, just getting our ass handed to us. I remember one time. Crazy quick story. We were freshmen, and I had beaten someone off the line. It was Andrew Norwell. Shout out to him. He just got that check. But
yeah, he got a fat check recently.
Fat one. Let me hold $1, Andrew. But no, he almost snapped my. This is when I was a twig still. He bent me over and almost broke my back. Oh my God, it was terrifying. But I just remember, I definitely remember being in the trenches with those guys, and definitely on the field, they're great teammates. We always have fun. We were out there playing for sure. But as people, I hold them in a much higher regard as people. They're great human beings. They do a lot of great things for people. They have their movement. When I left, it was how she gonna eat. That was super cool, and it's super cool to see them shine. Whoever gets any of those guys, any Buckeye coming out, is going to be lucky. I love every single one of those guys still to this day. I'm excited for them tomorrow and going into this weekend. It's super cool, because we'd always talk. I remember the days we'd always talk about, whenever we got to the league, and now seeing that that's a reality for a lot of people, and from having those talks and seeing where everybody's at now, it's super, super cool, and it's such a blessing. I'm excited for them and their families, and wishing them good luck.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe one or a few could end up in green and white.
Right, I'm hoping.
You got to get Mike McCagnon on the line. Okay, so we're going to try to keep you out of trouble here. We won't ask about which quarterback you want, but obviously the draft is tomorrow. It's a big day for Jets Nation. We'll ignore the names and whatnot, but what advice would you give to the guy who selected at 3? I mean, that was you 2 years ago as the first-round pick. This guy's going to be picked in the top 3. There's going to be a lot of expectations on him. He's going to be surrounded by the New York media and atmosphere. What advice would you have for him?
So to whoever we pick at number 3, bring your toolbox ready to effing work. And that's all I can say, because you're coming into a locker room that is focused, and we only focus on winning. So bring your toolbox ready to work and ready to win. And I mean that in a very friendly but stern, voice. Like, we want to win. Everybody wants to win. But we're putting in the work to win, day by day, slowly but surely. But whoever we pick, bring your ass ready to work. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Love it. And there's one guy in particular, Darron, that there's been a lot of rumors that he could be the Jets pick. And I when we got the interview, I knew I had to ask you, if Baker Mayfield is the pick, are you going to have to talk to him about the Oklahoma flag plant?
Oh, that's unfortunate.
About the flag plant?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a nice, friendly, firm handshake and a smile.
Yes.
Obviously that won't ever happen again, but obviously I congratulate him. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you beat us in our house, which is hard to do. But you have to, obviously tip the cap to him. But it'd be like, hey, it'd be a nice little good handshake with a smile of a good game. Good game, man.
That's going to be his welcome to the NFL moment.
I probably just mess with him back, but no, he's fine. No, he balled out that game. There really ain't much I can really say anyway. They balled out and beat us, so I think that'd be cool to see and talk to him about.
All right, Darron. This is the question that we're still literally getting tweets, even though I said we're going to ask it. I know you can't say everything or what's necessarily in the works, but as far as what you can tell Jets Nation, what is the latest with hashtag Jets New Unis? Do you have any sort of things that you can tell our listeners and Jets Nation as a whole?
Yes, Jets Nation. Honestly, I have to honor my position on this team. Can't share really anything crazy. All I know is that there's been extreme and heavy positive progress in that matter, and that is all I can say here and say. There's been extreme heavy progress, and I say that with a smile. So I'm saying, for me saying those words and saying it with a smile, there you go. Like that's really, there you go. Take the Jets to what it is. That's what we, that's what I only have to my knowledge and in my toolbox, and that's all I can really say.
All right, we will respect your wishes as far as that goes. We know Taste of the Jets is coming up. As far as Jets
that's
fans,
what I encourage everyone to go to that. I can't say here or there if there'll be more disclosed, but let's just say there's a high percentage chance.
All right, just stay tuned to Taste of the Jets. Wink, wink. That is May 17th. You could go get your tickets at NewYorkJets.com. In addition to that, Darron, we generally when we have a player on, we ask if they have any sort of foundation or anything they'd be interested in promoting. In addition to Taste of the Jets promoting this, you specifically told wanted to promote it. It was the Steven Stiller Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Why did you kind of choose that? I mean, obviously it was the links with the Taste of the Jets promo, but what does that mean to you as a player and as a person?
First of all, it meant a lot to me when it was brought to my attention. I definitely wanted to promote this and get this out there. So the Steven Stiller Tunnel Towers Foundation, for people who don't know, it honors the sacrifice of a firefighter who died on 9/11 named Steven Stiller. Gave his life to save others, and it's also for the other first responders and military people that continue to make sacrifice for this country. Definitely wanted to honor them. Definitely wanted to honor them for that. And I think that's definitely a great cause, because that means a lot to the city, obviously, but definitely means a lot to me because that was a tragic day, and just good to honor those guys who risked their lives and people who are still risking their lives just to make sure that we can get up and do what we do on a day-to-day basis. It means a lot to me, especially military. My mom was in the military. My family had other family members in the military, so that means a lot to me and holds dear to my heart.
Yeah, and you can follow them at Tunnel to Towers, and the 2 is an actual number 2, or you can go to tunneltotowers.org, and it's again just a 2. Kyle, I'll give you the mic for the last 2 questions here for Darron.
Yeah, we have some fun questions to end it off on a high note here. Obviously, the hashtag Jets Dance to Anything was quite the internet sensation. You were a big part of that. You guys made it on the World Star, every NFL media site. So we got to know, excluding yourself, because you obviously killed it out on the field, who was the best dancer on the team?
The best dancer on the team?
Yeah.
Excluding myself, I had to give this one to 3-3. I gave this one to Maul. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maul got some moves.
President drips and sauce out there.
Yeah, absolutely. But Maul's got some moves. You know what I'm saying? So I give him that. Although he's gonna say he's the best.
For sure.
So we actually gonna see that. We're gonna see this year. I know he always got a lot. He always has a lot of energy. He always does. And if you ever need an energy boost, just go talk to Jamal. But Jamal's probably the second best dancer on this team.
And you're number 1. Is Josh McCown's dancing moves anything like his basketball moves? Because we found out that he could ball, and I still don't believe that's him.
Yeah. Uncle Josh got the skills, man. And
he's got hops.
Oh yeah.
He jellied that man. I was so shocked to see that.
I thought it was fake for a minute when I first saw it. I was like, what? And then I replayed it. I was like, oh my God, unbelievable.
So would that put him as the best basketball player on the roster?
Whoa, hold on now. Whoa.
I don't know. Oh, you think you could take him one-on-one?
I wouldn't want to see Leo in the paint. That's all I'm saying.
Leo basketball?
I don't know, but he's pretty big, man. Can you imagine him posting you up?
I would never think Leo could play hoops like that. I don't think he doesn't really strike me as a hooper. I know Jamal thinks he could play. Jermaine Kerr thinks he could play. I think True. True was talking Drew was talking a little bit of trash when he introduced himself to the defense. So he's like, yo, we can get it going at LA Fitness. I'm like, man, look, I am on somebody, man, whatever. Everybody thinks they hoopers. I thought, May said he could hoop. And I kind of, in some strange way, believe it. But I don't know about a lot of other busters on our team. I don't know. Everybody say they can hoop, but they can't. Ron says he can hoop. That's yet to be seen. No one wants to say they want to go to the gym and see what's up. Everybody just
Who would you say is the worst then? I mean, you're saying everybody says they can hoop. Who would you just say, I mean, on your life, they have to be just the worst basketball player on the team? Not to throw anybody under the bus here, but, you know.
I'm not,
Ooh, I got to guess.
Just because he's my dog, I would say worst hooper. Ooh, man, that's tough. I'm going to say Avery. Avery can't hoop. Because we and him always keep talking trash. Because we always talking trash. So I'm going to say Avery can't hoop. Yeah, that's right, Avery. I don't know. Oh, Jordan Jenkins, because he played back in the day. I think he still says he thinks he could play. Absolutely not. No. I will dunk on Jordan so fast. And I still want to because we was talking trash when we were rookies. But no. I'd say Jordan is probably the worst hooper.
Yeah, you throwing Avery under the bus like that. Now he's got to come and defend himself on the show. So, I mean, I guess that works for us.
Perfect. That works out perfect.
All right. The final thing I want to get from you is your message to the Jets fan. In about 24 hours, we may or may not have a quarterback of the future. Or we may or may not have another player that's to be determined. But right now, we have a very solid team. We've spent a lot of money, and we have an exciting year coming up with a bunch of young players reaching their prime, including yourself. So what's your message to the Jets fans for this upcoming season?
You can curse. It's allowed.
Yeah, you can curse. It's fine. Ben already dropped some stuff, so you're good.
Look, I mean, for the upcoming season, obviously, for the upcoming season, obviously, we are obviously looking for those short games that we had to close those out and end up on the winning side of those. But for whoever we pick them on, they don't have a choice to be great. You know, they're going to be great. They're going to be coming into a great culture, and it's a very supporting culture and a healthy culture, and they're going to be great regardless. Whoever we pick, they're going to be great. We're going to win. It's just the mentality we have around here, man. We're not laying down for nobody. We're expecting to win every game. You know what I mean? And that's just our mentality. We're having championship mentality. So you're going to see a different group of Jets out there, a different motivation, just a different way of how things are going to go from now until I'm not here and until a lot of us aren't here anymore. So buckle up, honestly, because it's going to be one hell of a ride. I can feel it.
Darron, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Definitely one of our favorite interviews we've had the chance to do, and I didn't expect you to be. Yeah, I didn't think we'd have the chance to talk about basketball and who's the worst hooper and best hooper on the team, but I'm glad we did. Yeah. Darron, thank you for joining the show. Really quickly, shout out your not only your Twitter but your Instagram so our listeners can give you a follow if they're not already.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, follow my IG obviously at the Manimal _. Give me some follows. Hope people know the more follows you give, there might be some chances for some sneak peeks, but we will see.
Yeah, for some sneak peeks. All right.
Sneak peeks. Okay.
We'll see.
We hear you.
All right, and your Twitter is
Dealey MG8.
All right, Darron, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much. Best of luck tomorrow to your former teammates, to your current teammates, and this team, and for this upcoming season. Absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Darron Lee. Everybody, thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for being on, Dan.
That was an awesome interview with Darron
Lee.
Lee.
That's our best interview by far.
Wow, just really.
Yeah, I just threw Kelvin and ASJ under the bus right there, even though I love him. That was our best interview.
Yeah, big fan of Darron Lee there. And remember, he did say if he gets over 100,000 on Instagram, which would be a tough feat, he said he would release sneak peeks of whatever is happening with hashtag Jets New Unis. We're not allowed to necessarily say what it is.
Wait.
He wasn't either. He was
just wink. Everybody wink.
There's just a strong wink, okay? That's all we're allowed to say. Yeah. Okay, absolutely fun time with Darron. I think it was a well-timed interview. You had some technical difficulties. I was worried I was going to have to do that myself.
I was gonna have a heart attack if I missed that interview. I think I did good. I came in a little flustered. I settled down nicely. It's like, we hit a little turbulence. I
was trying to think of a Jets quarterback we could throw in there, but I was going to say Bryce Petty, and I was like, wait, he comes in. He just doesn't ever.
Let's not throw anybody.
All right, I'm just kidding. Okay, well let's get moving. I thought the interview was well timed because Darron was the first round pick 2 years ago. Obviously, the Jets have the first round tomorrow. Probably the biggest day in Jets history. Not history.
Yes.
It probably in at least the past decade, maybe two. You could argue some AFC.
Since 69, honestly.
I won't go that far. I'll say it's probably the biggest day since at least those AFC championships. This is the first time. You can go whatever you want.
This is the quarterback that is going to lead the Jets post-Brady, because Brady's not going to play more than 5 years, and regardless of what happens with this quarterback, unless he is just god-awful, which I swear to God, if he is, I'm going to be so pissed. This is the quarterback that is going to lead the Jets in a vulnerable AFC without Tom Brady. And hopefully, if we get the guy who I think we will, and the guys we currently have on this roster, including Darron Lee and Jamal Adams, this is a team who is going to be a contender for years if we get the quarterback I think we're going to.
Yeah, no, I agree with that fully. My point is until the Jets hit on it, if they just hit on this pick, it'll be the biggest day in Jets history since the Super Bowl, whatever. But let's not hype it up now. If they pick a guy who starts for 3 years and then sucks, it won't be.
For once, I'm not being pessimistic. All right,
I love it. I'm very appreciative. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get to the callers in just a second.
We have so many callers.
We have a lot to get through. A lot of people want to share their draft talks, so we're gonna keep it moving here. I guess we'll go. First guy on the line was Paulie Bruise, but I believe
the Twitter legend.
Yes, the Twitter legend. I don't know if he's necessarily just listening or wants to call in. His mic is muted currently right now, so we're going to go to Rick instead. Just a reminder: if you don't want to be on the air, because generally the people who call in we bring on to talk. Some people call in just to listen live if they can't get the link to work. If you don't want to be on the air, just DM us at the Jet Take, and we won't put you on the air. But we'll go to Rick for sure now.
We don't know.
Because we know he wants to be on the air. Rick, you are on the air. Thank you for joining us, man.
4 people just dropped.
4 people were nope. Rick, thank you for joining us. Tomorrow's the big day. Who do you think it's going to be?
That's actually the interesting thing too. I don't know how you kept with the latest buzz. Did you hear about I forgot who was his name and stuff like that, talking about Jets are 0 in on Josh Rosen, not Baker Mayfield. Today it was earlier today.
I didn't see that. I think I may have read it wrong, but I saw something that said the Jets were in on Baker Mayfield. Maybe I just read it wrong, but I'm fine either way. It's 1A, 1B. I'm so happy either way. Just literally anybody but Josh Allen. If we take Lamar Jackson at number 3, I'll be okay. I won't be ecstatic, but I'll be okay. I'll survive. Hell, if we take Saquon Barkley or Bradley Chubb at number 3, just don't give me Josh Allen. Anybody but Josh Allen.
Now, I wouldn't go as far as Saquon Barkley and all that stuff. You don't give up those second-round picks for just a positional player. But, yeah. So, I'll probably say, Mayfield, I'll be honest, if we pick Mayfield, I'm pre-ordering his jersey. I'm not even going to lie. That was my plan right off the back.
Oh, don't do that.
What?
Don't do that. Wink.
What?
You might... It might be outdated.
I say if they pick him.
Yeah, but...
I'm still going to take it.
All right. Rick.
What I was going to say, though... Oh, what are you guys doing for tomorrow for draft?
Oh, that's a great question. That is a great question. I am doing a live stream on the Jet Take Periscope. We got everything set up. It's going to look professional. Put in a lot of work. It's just going to be my ugly face and a couple graphics on Periscope, featuring great guys from TOJ, maybe Dalvin Osorio towards later in the night. Definitely Joe Caruso. Ben won't be there because he's going on some sort of Alcoholics Anonymous celebrity retreat.
No, okay, no, not
I don't
true.
know what he's doing.
I was chosen by my school to lead a retreat, so I'll be.
Oh wow, good for you, Ben.
Thank you. But I will be gone for the draft, so I won't be on the show. But Kyle will be live streaming on our show tomorrow. Now, Rick, we got to keep moving. We have a lot of callers, but I just want to get your take on this one question. Outside of the quarterbacks, obviously that's what everybody wants to know. Is there one guy that you want? And obviously we're not talking about a guy in the first round, but is there a guy in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, something later on in the draft that you're eyeing? I know some Jets fans want to add a pass rusher. If you don't have a specific guy, maybe a position or something like that.
Man, that's a good question. That's kind of tricky because, like, with this draft, it's like I don't know who's gonna fall. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely looking at that number 3 pick because there's a couple of scenarios that can go into it. So, but you know what? Let me go with a position. A position I think I would like to see them addressed, and like a lot of people may not be talking, is like either like the special teams, like kicker or punter. I would like to see them try to maybe pick up another guy from there, especially especially at least with competition for Lachlan Edwards, because like he's good sometimes, but his consistency really worries me though. So I think I would like to at least see that. You know what I mean? Try to get value for their picks and stuff. But I will be at MetLife Stadium tomorrow for the draft, though. Just to let you guys know.
All right, well, we'll have
you
fun.
Send us some photos?
Yes, have fun at MetLife Stadium. It's going to be a big day for Jets fans. Rick, we're sorry. We got to keep moving. We got a lot of callers on the line, but good to hear you're taking the quarterback and then the rest of the draft, which is getting kind of ignored at the moment. Rick, it was an absolute pleasure. Just really quickly shout out your social media. Oh,
yeah. I got you guys follow. It's RHP, Rage RHP, Rage RHP on Twitter. Like you said, do me a favor. Could you also tweet wherever your little live stream? I may take, click in onto it.
All right, we will do. Kyle's setting that all up.
Right.
So, Rick, thank you so much for calling in, man. We'll hopefully talk to you next week when the Jets have a franchise quarterback.
Oh, yes, definitely. And I'll probably tell you about my pre-order. Who I liked it. All right.
See you, man.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, that was Rick. Kyle, I asked him a question that I kind of wanted to ask you. Your favorite option outside of a quarterback. And we're going to keep moving with the callers. We know we got a lot, but I got to splice in some Kyle talk here. Ignoring the quarterbacks.
Because we all need that, right?
Yes, we all need that in our life, is more Kyle Fahey.
Yes.
Probably looking at round 3. Is there a certain guy you're looking at to add?
Ooh, round 3. It really just depends on who's going to fall to us. The more and more I talk to people who are close inside the league, I think there are some bigger names who were at first rumored to be number ones at their positions who are going to fall. In fact, we're going to do a 7-round mock draft later tonight, and, not to spoil anything, but my 3rd-round pick is Cortland Sutton, who has been starting to really fall, from what I've been told by people. I don't know why, but he's falling. And there's going to be a couple more wide receivers that fall as well. You're going to be surprised. Guy like the name of Calvin Ridley may be falling further than people expect. But so Cortland Sutton is a guy, maybe if he falls to us, there's some edge rushers. I'm going to murder this name. Ben, you know the guy I'm talking about from Rutgers.
Kamiko Toure?
Yeah, there we go. Kamiko Toure. I'm going to have to get that one down. But I'm basically looking for an edge rusher in the 3rd round if he's there, and if not, corner depth, because Patrick Peterson not really turning out for us. My Patrick Peterson, Justin Burris not panning out like I hoped, and the guys behind him.
I completely forgot about that. Your Justin Burris to Patrick Peterson comparison, maybe right next to your Garrett Grayson, Peyton Manning comparison.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll keep it moving. We'll go to our next caller. We're going to go to Michael Pallas, who called in last week for the first time. Michael, how you doing, man?
I can feel the heat.
First of all, Cortland Sutton, really?
Yes. Hey, it's better than Dimitri Flowers.
First of all, I have him going in the 4th round, not the 3rd round.
Oh.
I'm not gonna guarantee anything in the draft, but I'm gonna say it's somewhere between 0 and 0.5% that they don't take an edge rusher. Like that, they're going to take they're 99.5% that they're going to take an edge rusher in the 3rd round.
Well, Mike McCagnon goes best player available, and if an edge rusher is not the best player available on his board, and a guy like Courtland Sutton falls, you don't think he would take him?
I actually think he's going to go edge rusher no matter what. He's going to go best edge rusher available in the third round.
Well, that doesn't sound like a good plan, if I'm being honest. That sounds like a waste of roster spot.
Why they absolutely need an edge rusher.
Okay, but if you're not taking the best player available, all you're doing is taking a guy who fits the position. I mean, I can tell you right now that Greg Hardy fits the defensive end hole that we have, or an edge rusher hole. I mean, it doesn't mean I want him. Obviously, it's a different scenario, but I'm just saying that it's kind of dumb to take a player just because it's the position.
Yeah. And I mean,
we've kind of done that in the past with, not to throw anybody under the bus here, but guys like Lorenzo Molden, who hasn't really turned out yet and definitely wasn't the best player in that round.
Well, he did get hurt last year, so he might have been able to take a step up last year if he didn't get hurt.
Oh, okay.
But that's just me. And I do find it funny that one caller had mentioned punter and kicker as something he would like to see them address in the draft. But what about? And you said something that I actually agree with, that you wouldn't mind them taking Lamar Jackson at number 3.
Whoa. I didn't chime in here because I was letting
Misconception.
Kyle. I'll say this, Michael.
I'm not saying that you wouldn't mind. Let me rephrase that. That if they took him instead of Allen,
yes,
you would be okay with it.
Yeah, that's like a gun to my head scenario.
Okay,
I'm not saying Lamar Jackson at 3, but
let's get this out of the way. If the Jets pick anybody outside, and this is a common sentiment shared throughout pretty much most of Jets Nation, if the Jets take anybody outside of Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield, or Sam Darnold, this draft was an absolute failure. I agree. In my quarterback rankings, I have Lamar Jackson as 4 and Allen as 5. But I do not want Lamar Jackson at 3. There is no reason to trade up. I know you guys were just hypotheticals, but you don't trade 3 second-round picks for Lamar Jackson when you can get him at 6 and probably later. Rosen, Mayfield, Darnold are the only 3 options for the Jets. Michael, I know I like Lamar too. I think he'll be a solid quarterback and better than Allen, but not at 3.
Well, Mike Mayock is doing his mock draft on NFL Network, and he has Rosen falling all the way to 15. So,
I will say Mike Mayock is one of the few people that I respect on TV because he's usually pretty accurate on his rankings, and he's well tied into the league being a former player. If Josh Rosen falls past us, I'm going to be pissed.
He has the Jets taking Baker Mayfield, and he has Josh Allen going to the Bills at number 6.
All right. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked in this league. It's a really dumb league. It's a copycat league. If Josh Rosen falls to, what'd you say, 15? That's Arizona, right?
Yeah. His quarterbacks are number 1, Sam Darnold, number 3, Baker Mayfield, number 6, Josh Allen, number 15, Josh Rosen, number 16, Lamar Jackson.
Oh. I mean, I respect Mayock, and I actually saw a similar thing from Bucky Brooks the other day. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to believe there. Maybe teams don't like Josh Rosen. That's a possibility. But it would be dumb, and, the 14 teams that passed on him are going to regret that.
But by the way, Bucky Brooks also has the Jets taking Sam Darnold.
I mean, I wouldn't be
Michael, let's talk a little bit about... Well, hold on, guys. Not to interrupt a very cohesive conversation, but Michael, you've been a guy that's been a big fan of Darnold, and when the Jets traded up, you were talking a lot about how it's for Darnold. Darnold's going to fall to 3. Do you buy into the fact that the Browns are only really considering Allen and Mayfield, and do you think Darnold's going to be the pick if he's there at 3?
First of all, if he's there at 3, if the Browns take a quarterback and it's not Sam Darnold, he will fall to 3 because the Giants aren't taking a quarterback. That's my opinion. And I think they're going to if Cleveland takes Allen or Mayfield at number 1, the Giants will take Saquon Barkley. But I have a feeling that Saquon Barkley is going number 1 because the Browns want him and they want to make sure they get him, and the only way to guarantee to get him is if they take him number 1, because the Giants can take him at number 2 if they don't. And then they're going to take a quarterback at number 4. And yes, if Sam Darnold falls, to number 3, he's the guy for the Jets. I am not worried about the fumbles as a lot of people are. I was at the beginning when the first mock drafts were coming out and the people were saying the Jets were tanking for Darnold at the beginning, and then I said
they were pretty accurate about that, honestly.
That the Jets were tanking for Darnold?
Well, they were definitely tanking for a quarterback, and I think Sam Darnold's number 1 on their board.
Well, I didn't think they were necessarily tanking. They were just bad.
That's
all right.
That's
Michael, we got to keep moving, but I want your last prediction. Who's it going to be tomorrow?
Darnold.
All right, we like it. Michael, shout out where our listeners can give you a follow.
I'll take it.
Palace NY Sports on Twitter, and you can also read my stuff at NFL Spin Zone.
All right, Michael, we love it. Thank you for calling in, man. All right, that was Michael. We're going to try to go to Paulie now, and we'll see if we can get him on.
Does he have a mic?
He said he's called in and he's ready to go, but the mic is grayed out right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Paulie, I don't know if you have it muted on your end or something. We're trying to bring you on, man. But right now the option is grayed out. So Kyle and I will talk while Paulie and I get this sorted out on
technical difficulties tonight are not.
I know, Kyle, but it gives us a good opportunity to talk about something that came out today. That Michael Cagnan said that the Jets are going to have an increased interest in using analytics, and that's something they've actually leaned on quite a bit during this draft process. If you look at some of the analytics on these quarterbacks, and we're going to use Jim Coburn's numbers, who we're going to try to have on in the next few weeks to analyze who the Jets took. Baker Mayfield is the highest number. He has a 92.77 QB score, which is for 2017 out of all the draftable quarterbacks. Kyle, how much do you think analytics play a part in the Jets' decision-making, and do you think that signals that the Jets are going to take Mayfield? For reference, Mayfield was first with a 92.77. Josh Rosen was second with an 88.82. Darnold was third with an 82.02, and Josh Allen would be last out of all those guys with a 14.22. So this might signal to, 1, the Jets picking Baker Mayfield, and 2, not taking Josh Allen.
I think analytics is what won the Philadelphia Eagles their Super Bowl last year. So,
so you're a big fan of the Jets using more analytics.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yes.
And so do you think there's any weight into that, and do you think that should show that combined with Bowles' quote on that he looks for accuracy in a quarterback, should that calm Jets fans' nerves about them taking Allen?
I think numbers are what makes the world go round. I mean, we calculate stars, we calculate how to get to different planets, we calculate what time it is. I mean, numbers make the world go round, and football really hasn't used numbers until the past 20 years. It used to just be, wow, that guy's big, and then draft him. Now we see teams winning Super Bowls because of it. So the more numbers you incorporate, the more accurate your information is going to be. Now, am I saying that it's 100% accurate every time? No. Does it work most of the time, and is it usually accurate? Absolutely. And if Baker Mayfield is the most credible, then you got to take him. If if it matches.
We were able to figure out Paulie's issue here. That's actually on our end. So Paulie, you are on the line, and this is your first time.
How is that hard? What did we do?
I messed up. Okay. Anyways, Paulie, you're on the line, and I think we have a few things in common, Paulie. One, we've bonded during the March Madness tournament.
On Twitter.
Okay, that's that. But we bonded over the March Madness tournament over our love for Syracuse. I'll be attending there next year. You're a big Syracuse basketball fan. And then we also have kind of bonded on Twitter over our absolute love for Josh Rosen. He's my quarterback 1, and it sounds like he's your QB1 as well. So, Paulie, with that said, thank you for coming on our show.
But did Paulie follow you like 2 days ago? That's all I'm saying.
Hey, listen. Not everybody gets lucky, so just happen.
I think you only followed me because I was on Connor's podcast. I think that was the only reason.
It could have been.
Yeah, but Paul, I'll give you advice and just unfollow Kyle now. It's just full of awful cold takes. Now
I'm like Coldplay, except like a constant mic.
Oh boy, that was one of your worst jokes I think I've ever heard. But Paulie, continuing on with the big theme tomorrow, big day in Jets history. Who do you think it's going to be?
Well, it all depends on what the Browns are going to do at 1. If they take Darnold, I fully believe that they are going to go Rosen at 3.
I'm of the belief that the Baker talk is a little bit of a smokescreen. It's just too hot. There's just too much of it. Everybody's in on it, and usually when that's the case, when there's smoke, there's fire. I do believe that if Darnold is there, he will be the pick. But I'm of a firm belief. I'm about 90% sure Darnold's going 1-2 to the Browns, and if that's the case, everything's going to follow suit like we thought, and I believe that Rosen will be the pick at 3.
Yeah, I'm of the same belief. I think, you see this a lot with, I think it was in November, Matt Miller released that Josh Allen is the Jets' favorite quarterback and that McCagnon loves him. And then we heard a lot about, Sam Darnold's their favorite quarterback. We heard when they traded up that Josh Rosen is who they're trading up for. In the past few days, we've heard that Baker Mayfield is a lock to the Jets. I agree that the Jets, I think a lot of this is a smokescreen. That's not to say that the Jets won't take Baker Mayfield. But I do believe that and I won't be upset with that. I think Baker Mayfield is probably the more fun pick when it comes to swag and whatnot and attitude. I think that might be swaying.
I can't take you seriously when you say swag.
Okay, it was just the first word that popped in my head, Kyle. But I think if you strip away some of that stuff from Baker and you just compare them as quarterbacks, I think you're going to see Josh Rosen as the better quarterback. I understand there are concerns about his injuries and whatnot, but comparing him on the field quarterback, when they're both healthy, Josh Rosen is the better quarterback. However, I won't be upset with Baker Mayfield. I have him personally as my quarterback too. Now, Paulie, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Is there a pick that you'll be upset with? I mean, obviously, we'll be ecstatic if Rosen's the pick. I'll also be very happy if it's Mayfield. But is there a guy that you're very upset with?
Well, see, here's my thing. Obviously, upset is kind of the general consensus, and that's Allen. But I don't even think he's in the consideration, so I'm not worried about that. Now, I don't want to use the word upset. Darnold's QB3 for me. I'm not saying that I'd be upset with the pick, but after the hype of the last, 2.5, 3 weeks, and it's been it's been Rosen or Mayfield, I feel like if the pick is Darnold, I'll just be underwhelmed. I'm not a big fan of Darnold, but, hey, he's young. He's 20. People say he has the intangible, so I guess it's a wait-and-see approach. But I think Rosen and Mayfield have a chance to get on the field this year where Darnold does not. I don't think I'd be mad if Darnold was the pick. I just would be a little underwhelmed, and it's kind of a wait-and-see for me when I know if Rosen gets on the field year one, we're gonna see him go through the progress and play the full season. So but if it's Allen, that I would probably just turn the draft off and do something else.
Yeah, I'm turning my life off. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Well, Paulie,
stipulation.
Obviously, Jets fans are excited about this pick. And let's say the Jets take Josh Rosen, as you and I really want them to. And I believe, Kyle, you're also on the Josh Rosen train.
Yeah.
Let's say they get this guy. You got Rosen. You got a young team around him, and probably the team I'm most excited for that we've had in years. I would go as far to say 2010, and I know we say that a lot, but think about it. 2011 because we were coming off the AFC Championship high. But think about 2012 and 2013 and 2014, some pretty barren rosters. And I know McCagnon gets some heat for the Hackenberg pick and whatnot, the Devin Smith pick, but I feel like he's done a solid job of building the core of the team. So let's say the Jets get Rosen. Do you trust Todd Bowles as the leader of this new era in Jets football?
I'm not a Bowles fan at all. Everyone knows that. But I feel that there's a plan in place that they kind of got away from when they won the first year with Bowles and with Fitzpatrick as the quarterback, and they're finally sticking to it. So if there's a plan that everybody's on board with, I'm going to support it and see it through. And I think that they got a little bit of off track from what the original plan was, and now they're on the right track. So I'm going to see it out. I don't know, but the reports coming out that, if the rookie quarterback shows that he's ready, Bowles is going to start them. I'll believe it when I see it. I hope that's the case. But if Rosen is the pick, and let me preface this before I say it because I'm not comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, but the two have a lot of similar traits from their attitude, from the way they handle things, from the chips on their shoulders. It's very similar. So I'm not comparing them, but I'm just saying the similarities are there.
So Josh Rosen is Aaron Rodgers, is what you're saying?
Yes, correct. Yeah, I'm not saying
Cool.
they're the same player, but I'm just saying that the similarities, that the traits that Rodgers has, so does Rosen. The things that people say about him, the attitude, I'm going to be the best. I need to be the best. That they're there, and I think if we take Rosen, and I'm not knocking Baker because I don't know, because there's still kind of a boomer bust there for Baker. You don't know, how the situation goes. But I think if Rosen is the pick, we finally will go into each season knowing who our quarterback is for the next 10 years. And that's all I want. That's all I wanted for the last 20 years, is just to know who our quarterback was. And it's always every offseason we don't know who it is. And I'm just ready for that to be over with and just move on. So, hopefully it is Rosen. If it's Mayfield, we're going to roll. If it's anybody else, to be determined.
I love it. Paulie, last thing, outside of the quarterbacks, it's obviously all what we're focusing the show on. Outside of the quarterbacks, is there a guy specifically that you want the Jets to try to add in the rest of the draft, rounds 3 to 7? If you don't have a specific guy in mind, maybe a position group that you really want them to target.
I would love to see edge addressed. Not having a second-round pick, it's going to be kind of hard to see who's there. So I guess I'll go to running back, because our running back stable, while we added Crowell, it's going to be a little limited to me. We saw some flashes from McGuire last year, but I'm not sold. We've seen Powell. He can do things, but then when he gets a little bit more carries, he gets nicked up. It depends if there's going to be a run on the running backs or not. Picking in the third round over the second round, it's hard to tell who's there. But if a guy like Penny is available in round 3, that's someone to consider. There's some talk that some medicals came on Sony Michel, and he may drop a little. So if somehow, some way, I can't see it happening. But if he's in the third round, that'd be great. I wouldn't mind taking a late round flyer on Callaway as well, the wide receiver from Florida. Because not having a second round pick this year, not having a second round pick next year, he's a talented player. It's only weed. He's not.
Yeah.
It'll be in a few years.
I don't care about that.
Yes, neither do I. So, you've got to fill the roster with talented players. He's a talented player, and if he's there in the third or the fourth round, it's something to consider to help your young quarterback that you just took.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paulie, and I think that observation's really correct in what you said. Look, if you don't have a second-round pick, you're going to have to start taking some chances in the later rounds. You can't really, play it safe and take the guard from some SEC school or whatever. If there's a guy like Callaway available on day 3 and you fall in love with him as a prospect, you might need to put aside some of those off-the-field concerns. That's how the Bengals ended up with Vontaze Burfict in, the 7th round. It's not always going to hit.
How much does that cost?
Yeah, okay, a few times, but it's not always going to be. It's not always going to pan out. The Jets could pick a guy and then he'll be out of the league in a few years. But that's all what that's what day 3 is about. And I think I'm confident enough in this locker room that
and that's a good thing to say, because you couldn't say that 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just I think I'm confident enough in the locker room and the leaders that if you were able to bring in a guy like Callaway in, let's say, the 6th round, if he falls, he might go 7th round because of this latest, weed thing. I would definitely take him, because if not, if he had none of these let's say he was a pretty boy and I guess I should say choir boy off the field, he'd probably be a first round, second round pick.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you can pick up, and if you can pick up a first round talent in the 7th round, I'm willing to overlook some of those off the field issues. Anyways, Paulie, you've been great. Thank you so much for calling in your first time. We hope to hear from you again in the future. Really quickly, just shout out your Twitter and your social media for listeners if they're not following you already. But as Kyle said, you're a bit of a Jets Twitter legend.
Yeah. So I was genuinely happy when I saw that I got followed by you. I got done with the Connor spot. He posted it the next day. I got followers, and it's a Paulie. Damn.
Yeah,
I just lost my train of thought. My train of thought.
I'm just missing a follow from Jude, and then I think I have all the Jets.
Well. I randomly attacked Jude one day.
You're not. I promise you're not missing anything. So.
I was so sick of his antics one day. He just said something really stupid. I was like, you're just some 40-year-old dude sitting behind a keyboard pissing people off. You know that? And then he just blocked me immediately. So I don't think I'm getting a follow from Jude anytime soon.
So if you guys want to follow me, it's up to you. I do not only do I have a lot of sports takes, but I tweet about wrestling a lot. But my Twitter handle is at Paulie, Paulie _BRUZ. So I'm always up to chat, and hopefully tomorrow we're celebrating at this time.
All right, Paulie, thank you so much for calling in. And as you said, hopefully tomorrow we will be celebrating the Jets' newest franchise quarterback, whether it's Rosen, Mayfield, and even to a lesser extent Darnold. I think all Jets fans will be happy with it. I think even if they're not in love with a specific prospect, they will be once he hits the field. I'm very excited about this. Just don't pick Josh Allen. Paulie, it was great to hear from you. We hope to hear from you again in the future.
Yeah. Have a good one, guys.
You too. And go Syracuse Orange basketball, I should probably mention.
Get cooked.
Oh, okay, hold on. Sweet 16 appearance is the last team in. I don't mean to say anything, but, Now, Kyle, he brought up an interesting point talking about Callaway. Do you have a favorite day 3 prospect? So I know we talked about you want to add Kamiko Toure, but outside of that, a guy you're looking for round 5, 6, 7, and I know you want to say Callaway. So outside of Callaway, that's going to be hard because he's the one guy that pops into your head. You're from Florida. You love him. You watched him.
He would be the number 1 wide receiver in this draft without a question in my mind if he would just put down the damn weed. Come on, man.
We got to get the Stephen A. Smith soundbite.
We really need to get that. It could be very useful. Day 3 type of guy, Hercules Matata, I guess, off the top of my head. He's a guy who I really
for those who don't know, we probably should. He's a defensive end out of Washington State. He could slide right in across from Leonard Williams. He played a lot of defensive tackle at Washington State, and then he's being forced to slide outside.
Probably some concerns. 4 or 5.
Yes, and he has some concerns, but he finds a way to get
size, right? That's his big knock.
Yes,
size. Okay.
Yeah, but he finds a way to get after the quarterback, so I would absolutely love it if he is the pick. And at the end of the episode, Kyle and I will be releasing our 7-round mock draft for the Jets, and I don't want to say anything, but he might be in my 7 there, I guess my 6. All right, well, let's get back to the callers.
Also,
hey, fire away.
I'm the draft analyst here. All right, let me get my takes out. Niall Himes,
who the hell is Mark Tupper, anyways? Yes, he was also on the. Whoa, I mean, you're either just reading the Google Doc that I shared with you, or you're actually we're just.
Wait, do you actually have names on the Google? Hold on. Yeah. I mean, you can see if I'm on the Google Doc.
Callaway, Kamiko Toure, and Hines, and Hercules Matata. Wow, we are just. We might have to end the show now. I mean, the whole show is based off us.
No joke. I recently watched Wyatt Teller because my dad picked him in a simulator. I was like, all right, let me see if this guy's any good. He's all right, but I'm probably not picking him.
If he falls, day 3, I'll take him.
Yeah, I like Niall because I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right. It's a weird name, Niall. I think it's Niall. Well, I guess we'll learn eventually, but
and Nyhammer's it's
something.
Weird.
It's something like that. I like him more because not only is he like a really good pass catcher out of the backfield, on top of being like a productive running back in college, he's a great kick returner, punt returner. And if you can get a guy like that who can come in on like first down and you can create sub packages for him and you can pass with him and they don't have to teams are going to know that you're passing with him, but it's okay because he can beat most of the guys there, and then he can still be a productive runner from time to time. He's not going to be the workhorse or anything, but he's a productive guy who can probably get you 300 or 400 yards in the season, and then he can be your full-time kick returner and punt returner. You give me a guy who can do 4 things on my offense, confuse the defense, and make Josh Rosen and Jeremy Bates drool at the mouth where the opportunities lie with him. You can get him in day 3. That's a steal. And coming out of a school like NC State, who played at a high level ACC, going against teams like Clemson, Florida State, even though they had a little bit of a down year, I mean, that's the guy I want on my team. So if he falls to us in the later rounds, I hope we get him. And it creates more competition at the running back spot because Bilal Powell's spot is not secured. Elijah McGuire's spot is not secured. I mean, the only spot really secured right now is Isaiah Crowell. So.
Yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about the running backs, as you mentioned, in Hines and stuff. I think I want to get your prediction right now. I mean, I think McGuire, I'd say he's a lock. I mean, I know there's a scenario where he couldn't be, but I think
I agree.
So I think you're looking at Crowell, McGuire, and then outside of that, I don't know if Rawls and Powell make the roster. Can you give me your prediction? Do you think Rawls, Powell will be on the roster come week 1?
I think Powell will, because I wouldn't be shocked if he was our number 1. rolling into week 1, because I think Isaiah Crowell is going to work more in packages, and Powell's just going to be the standard guy out there. Thomas Rawls, like, before injury in Seattle, was supposed to be their guy to replace Marshawn. So, obviously Marshawn retired, but they felt that was okay because they had individuals back there. But, what are you laughing at?
You might want to check our latest tweet. I think that might be my great. I might have to retire from Twitter. I don't want to read it on the air, but I think That might.
Are you talking about the guy who responded to?
No. Just go to our Twitter.
That was pretty funny.
Josh Allen tweeted something in 2012 that's a little interesting, and I tweeted out my quarterback ranking for him. I think that.
Look at the timestamp too.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay,
wow.
let's go ahead.
All sorts of numbers. I mean,
that might have been
that is the greatest thing you've ever done, Ben. You just want my respect.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to the callers. We're gonna go ahead and go with Alex first. I think he's just ahead of Rumi, and I don't believe Mike.
Rumi, I gave you a shot. Wait, I don't see Rumi.
Rumi's 310, but I don't believe Mike wants to be on the air, so Mike, just DM us if.
Wait,
can I
go get my dinner real quick?
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bro, I got a stir fry just sitting in the pan.
Okay.
I gotta
go off and eat your stir fry, Kyle. Alex, we're gonna bring you on the line first. Rumi, you're right after him. We have to go in the order of guys who called in. Alex, you're on the line.
Rumi is gonna hate me. This is gonna be. I'll be back.
Go away, Kyle. It's good to hear from you, man. We haven't heard from you in a while. Big day tomorrow. Who's it going to be?
Oh, hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. Tomorrow, I'm really hoping that, we land either Baker Mayfield or Josh Rosen. If I had to choose between the two, I guess I would say Mayfield. I just like the production. He's got a great resume from what he's done. He's very experienced. He throws with anticipation, and, he can make all the throws on the field, and you got to love his competitor spirit. But, 1A, 1B, like you guys said before. And Rosen, I think, is a great pocket passer, and he can do everything. And he's definitely got some fire within him. These last couple interviews he's done has been great. So either way, I'm still happy, And then if it does end up being Darnold too, he's a 20-year-old quarterback that, you can have for 10 years or more. So who knows, like, he could still be hitting into his best numbers when he's in his 30s. So, he's definitely a prospect that you can, just easily just not take, and obviously Josh Allen, I might throw up on myself if that happens.
Yeah, you and Kyle and really me as well. I think a lot of Jets fans just don't want to take another high upside project who's big and strong and, look, this guy's playing in the Mountain West Conference. He's playing against guys who are going to be selling used cars in 2 years, and he was not playing well. He's not being drafted based off the quarterback he is right now. He's being drafted off the quarterback some NFL GMs think they can make him. I would just, if the Jets take Allen, I'll be so disappointed. And it will really ruin all the positive optimism we've had this entire show and really this entire offseason since they traded up for 3. But I agree with you in your analysis. Will you talk a little bit about Darnold? So can you give your quarterback rankings? I know you and Kyle worked last year you did a lot of draft rankings and whatnot. But for your quarterbacks, can you give me your top 5?
Okay. I would have to go with Mayfield as my 1, Rosen as my 2, Darnold as 3. I would go Lamar Jackson as 4, and then I'd probably have Allen as 5, but I could argue Mason Rudolph might deserve that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Kyle and I talked about this a little bit earlier. There's been a lot of reports. Okay, Kyle's back. There's been a lot of reports that the Jets, to Baker Mayfield, the Jets is an absolute lock and whatnot. Are you buying that, or do you think that's more of a smokescreen to get somebody else, such as Rosen, or dare I say Allen?
It's definitely crazy. Seeing all these different rumors and sources, and everyone has a guy that they heard from this person in the organization. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I grew up next to a kid that works for the Jets organization right now, and he keeps his lips absolutely sealed.
Sources.
So exactly, he keeps his lips sealed, and that's why he still has his job. So
It's probably why we don't get it. That's why they don't support our show.
Right,
Actually,
exactly.
we can keep our mouth closed on a couple things.
But I don't know. Until it happens to tomorrow, I mean, I think they really do like Baker Mayfield. I think, a lot of signs were showing, after they saw his pro day and everything like that they made a trade and that whole narrative. But everything that he has done thus far in college has proven that he's worthy of, the number 3 pick, and so has Rosen, and so has Darnold. So I think they were more comfortable with that, and I think the telling sign was that they weren't comfortable sitting at 6 because they didn't want to have to reach for Mason Rudolph at 6 in the event that 5 quarterbacks were to go in, consecutive order. So, I would say that Lamar Jackson and Allen maybe didn't make their top 3, and, maybe that's why they did that.
Sorry, Josh Allen is currently being destroyed on Twitter. Some people have found some of his tweets from his younger days. I don't really know what that is. Okay, so yeah, Josh Allen is. Oh boy, that might hurt his draft stock. Anyways, Alex, continuing. Let's shift.
That
focus
got deleted, Ben. That tweet was deleted within like a minute of you tweeting that.
Wow, that's amazing.
I guarantee you, like, his publicist saw that and was like, oh shit. No.
Yeah, I know. Josh Allen talking about little boys' genitals is kind of concerning.
Wait. Not little. Whoa. Not little boys. Calm yourself.
That's what he said. Did you not see?
It says, I love penis.
No. There's another one, which is way worse.
Oh.
He said he's quoting somebody. He says, I don't want to get into it. Anyways.
No, weird. Ben, hurt his draft stock now, all right? Do it.
He said he quoted somebody, so he added somebody, and then in quotations. So I think he's saying that this girl said it, but I don't know. It's just we'll leave it off the air. Anyways, Alex, shifting focus from the quarterbacks.
Your age is on the
Okay, all right. Shifting focus from the quarterbacks. Let's talk about some other worries we might have. Corner depth. That's one of my biggest worries entering the season. I think, I think the duo of Tremaine Johnson and Morris Claiborne is very solid. Buster Screen, I think you could do better. I'm not in love with him as a nickel corner, but I think he's at least a solid starter. Outside of that, it's a very shaky position. And when you remember one,
Ben, I just saw it.
Yeah, hold on. When you remember the injury history of Morris Claiborne and then Buster Screen not really playing well consistently,
he really called that girl out.
The secondary could be really, really frightening if things don't pan out outside of Tremaine Johnson. And then, God forbid, if he's a bust. So how do you think the Jets should try to attack the cornerback position? In what round would you say the Jets should try to attack the cornerback position for mainly depth? I mean, the Jets have a lot of young guys such as Derek Jones, who we had on the show, Jeremy Clark. I can tell Kyle read the tweet. Rashad Robinson. There's a few guys there, but how do you think the Jets should try to attack this CB depth?
It's funny that you said that because I was talking or tweeting about that this morning. Somebody was saying how they feel that the cornerback position was set, and they were talking about Derek Jones and Jeremy Clark, and basically they're unknowns at this point. And what we do know is that we have an older player in Buster Screen that has had a lot of concussions through his career, and he always seems to miss a game or two for one of those. Plus, he's highly penalized, and even though Claiborne did a really good job of playing one of his, I think he played in 15 games or something like that, but still didn't make a whole full season, and he's always been known to be banged up at different times. So if something happens between that situation there, either Buster Screen is going back to the number 2 role where he always struggles, or, we'll be pushing and hoping that Justin Burris or Darryl Roberts or one of the projects that we got in last year's draft can play the nickel. And I don't know if you want to roll the dice with that. You may want to go and look at that 3rd round, per se, and, maybe try to find a player, maybe an MJ Stewart from, North Carolina. So I'd be up for it. I wouldn't want to reach, you said, edge was important. I do think edge is an important position, but I also feel that there's more of a concern to, fill in the shoes for Muhammad Wilkerson and get, a versatile defensive end or, someone that can play inside too, maybe a Rasheem Green or possibly Nathan Shepard. There's a lot of big, trench guys that I think that we should be targeting in these middle rounds, on the defensive line and offensive line, and start working on the left side of our line for 2019, because we've got 2 older guys on there that are starting to slow down, and it would be a good idea to start getting, younger guys into those roles now, kind of like what we did with Brandon Shell.
Yeah, I see you've been doing your homework even without drafting being a thing.
Yeah, I stay on point.
The worst draft website ever founded by Kyle Fahey.
Ben, that's why you wanted to make a part of the Jet Take and almost threatened to
All
fire.
right.
Yeah, you can stop me dry, Ben.
Okay, that's okay.
Try
outside
me.
of quarterback,
Try me.
Kyle's I gotta say, Kyle's in the zone tonight. Outside of quarterback, I agree with you. Draft beef. I think the biggest needs for the Jets. Obviously, you need the pass rusher, cornerback depth, offensive line depth, and then defensive end. I think those are your biggest needs, and then you can talk about maybe adding another running back or receiver or whatever. But I think that outside linebacker, defensive end, cornerback depth. I think those are the things the Jets need to address. And I agree with you. I have some guys that I'm really interested in. Holt Hill from Texas, if he's there in the 4th round, would be a guy I'd really like. I'm trying to remember the guy from Alabama. Oh, yeah, we just actually got a tweet about him from Prospect Breakdown. Anthony Avery. I don't want to mispronounce him.
I like him.
Yeah, I think he could be a really solid guy with our 3rd pick, probably the 4th round, looking at him. I think they should just – I think the order and, look, McCagnon isn't a guy who drafts based off position. He drafts best player available, or so he says. I think you're looking at, okay, 1st round, you need to get the quarterback. 2nd round, you need to get the outside linebacker. 4th round, I think you get corner. 5th round, I think you can get a very solid defensive end. And that's where I have Hercules from Washington State going. And then I think after that, you could go offensive line depth. And then with that last pick, you could go wherever you want. I think the Jets need to address some needs here. And I know there's the best player available approach, but I think they need to go who's the best player for the New York Jets. And right now, they need to add quarterbacks, pass rushers, corner depth, defensive and offensive line depth. That's kind of just my thoughts on that. Alex, it's been great to have you on the show and back. Calling in again. We want one prediction for tomorrow. For this weekend.
Kyle survive the night? That's the real question.
Okay. Yes. If the Jets don't draft Josh Allen, Kyle will still be alive. But I guess you've kind of already talked about your prediction for tomorrow. But your prediction for the weekend, could you give one bold prediction for the Jets?
One bold prediction?
Yes.
I think that they might get crazy and do something that they did like they did in last year's draft, where they double down in rounds, back to back, hitting the same positions. I'm not sure which one they might do that at. That's the crazy part. That's where I'm thinking maybe defensive line, if they're going, on our board, like you said, the best player available. I mean, everybody was screaming for edge and cornerbacks early last year, and they clearly just waited on that. So, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple guys that they've brought in that I pinned on my Twitter account, if you want to go see it, maybe they just go ahead and they do something like that and bring in like a Lorenzo Carter and like a Trenton Thompson or something like that. Get a couple more Bulldogs to match up with Jordan Jenkins. So that would be my bold prediction.
Who's the linebacker coming out of Georgia this year? Is going to go like in the 2nd or 3rd round? What's his name?
I'd probably say Lorenzo Carter. I know Roquan Smith would be going in the 1st round.
Yeah, Lorenzo
Carter. I think he would be a good fit for us.
Yep.
I just saw Mike's tweet.
Ben, Mike may be my new favorite messenger on here.
Alex, it was great to hear from you. Really quickly, give out your social media so our listeners can give you a follow.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. You can follow me at Rufio_187. Let's go Jets, boys.
All right, Alex, thank you so much. Next week, the Jets will have a franchise quarterback, hopefully. Unless they
they have never listened to us, though. Like he just said, everybody was calling for a quarterback and edge last year. What'd they do? 2 safeties. It worked out well. But watch them just go, you know what? We feel Bradley Chubb was a once-in-a-lifetime player. It was really hard to pass on him, and we felt Luke Falk can come in and manage a team pretty well. And we thought he was a steal in the 2nd round. Just watch it happen. Just watch it.
Yeah, no, hey, look, I don't necessarily think it's going to go exactly how I said it will. I could totally see the Jets taking a guard in the 3rd round or whatever, but, I do think there's something to, don't draft based off need all the time, but I think there's something of you don't need to add guys at a position that is less of a need than a position that's a greater need. That didn't make really much sense at all. But I'm saying is if you have a glaring need at outside linebacker, the Jets currently don't know who's starting opposite Jordan Jenkins. If you have a glaring need there, why would you opt to take a guy, especially in the third round, a guard or something who's going to be a backup his rookie year? I think the Jets need to allocate their resources better. I'm not going to crap on them until it's over. And I won't be that mad if they take a guard or whatnot, but I think the Jets need to exit this draft with the quarterback, a pass rusher, the defensive end, and then some corner depth and some offensive line depth. That's 5 things. Now, before we go to our next caller, which will be Rumi, Kyle, I wanted to get your thoughts on last year. This is something people have forgotten about. Last year, Mike, and it was kind of annoying to a lot of Jets fans. Mike McCagnon was working the phone lines quite a bit, and he traded down the most of any of these teams. Given the fact that he's given up 2 second-round picks this season, how likely do you think it is that the Jets are going to trade back with at least one, probably more of these picks?
I'll just trade down to 8 or something. Get nothing back in return. I do see trade downs later. I actually wouldn't be shocked if we go and acquire a second-round pick because I think the Jets really like Maurice Hurst from Michigan, defensive tackle who's probably going to switch to 3 or 4 into the NFL. And I mean 3 or 4 tech, just depending on whatever.
That would be a fantastic pick. I would be all for that.
And I don't know if I have him falling to the second round in my mock draft, but if he does fall, I think that's a guy the Jets would definitely like to have. He can come in and play defensive end for us or a defensive end type role. Just basically a strong guy from Big Ten. He's a good talent, deserves to be in the first round. Just going to be one of those positions that there's a couple guys ahead of him, and he's a talented player. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets bundle a third and maybe next year's 5th or something to move up into the second round if there's a player they like. But I also see trade downs happening. If they can't get a trade up accomplished. 5th round.
I don't think they'll trade up again after giving up 2 seconds.
Well, if there's somebody they like, it's simple as that.
I mean, yeah, I guess if there's, but it'd have to be a guy who is a top 15 pick. If I'm trying to think, if Harold Landry fell to the top of the second, something like that. That would be a situation where I could understand a trade up, but giving up more resources is going to be tough. Kyle, this is a scenario that will not happen.
Wait. I just thought of a really good joke, and it has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Well, then.
No. Okay. You think Josh Allen's going to pull a Kevin Spacey on us right now?
Okay, no, that was just not even worth it. That was horrible. And we
100%
lost a caller
worth it.
because of that. We literally lost a caller when you made that joke. Anyways.
It was worth it. Charlie.
Charlie. Okay, here's a scenario that will not happen, but we'll give it out anyways. If the Browns go Josh Allen.
Then becomes 6. Oh, never mind.
Okay. And the Giants go Saquon Barkley or whatever. And you're picking at 3, and you have Darnold, Mayfield, and Rosen all on the clock. And the Broncos give you a call and say, look, we really, really, really love Sam Darnold. And we're going to give you, let's say they're able to get back what they basically traded up. We're going to give you our second this year, a second next year, throw in a few, maybe a late round pick or whatever, and we want to move up and take him. Do you pull the trigger on that? Because you can move down to 5, you get your second round picks back, and you're probably having Josh Rosen and Baker Mayfield on the line, but you might have just one of them. At the very least, you might have one of them, assuming a team doesn't trade up with Cleveland. Do you pull the trigger?
What is Denver giving us?
I didn't map that out specifically, but you're getting back kind of what you gave up. You're getting a second this year. You're getting a second next year. Maybe you get a third or something like that just to throw in towards the end, mid-round, late-round picks. Would you pull the trigger? And then you still wind up with either Darnold, Rosen, or Allen. Or Darnold, Rosen, or Mayfield.
Who did you have Cleveland taking, number 1?
Allen. So Allen's off the board, and the Giants didn't take a quarterback. And the only team, and the Broncos are going to take Darnold, so Darnold won't be on the board. And then so you're looking at Rosen and Mayfield,
Cleveland, possibly Buffalo.
And yeah, unless somebody trades up with Cleveland, but then in that case you're still left with either Mayfield or Rosen.
Yeah, I guess I would do that.
I don't think it'll ever happen. It's probably a pipe dream, but I had that thought just yesterday. I mean, if they, when you talked about today, even now, when you talked about it with the Jets trading down, I was like, there is, in that scenario, that might be the only scenario I can think of where if the Jets traded down, Mike McCagnon might look like a first-class genius, but he has to get back more value than he gave up. So move up.
Let's just trade down to 27.
Yeah, no, they're not doing that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get to the callers. Rumi's been on the line for a while. We apologize, Rumi. You are finally on the line, and we get to talk about our favorite quarterback, Josh Rosen. Rumi, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me on. It's been a long time.
Rumi, I shouted you out on Connor Rogers' podcast the other day.
Oh, you did? What did you say? Thank you.
He wanted to know what the callers wanted at quarterback, and, off the top of my head, the first person I thought of for quarterbacks and being a huge homer was the one and only Rumi for Josh Rosen.
Exactly. No, thank you. Doesn't he like Rosen too?
Yeah.
We're all big Rosen fans right here.
I don't know about Kyle in the beginning, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I just had to.
Sounds like you're a hater. I mean.
Well, thank you so much.
No. Boom, right back to my face.
Now, Rumi.
But I hope, yes.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was just going to ask you about Rosen. I mean, you're a UCLA fan, so you might have a little bit of bias, but even as a non-UCLA fan, and actually as a kid who grew up as a USC fan because my mom went there and then, Mark Sanchez played there.
Oh,
so
God.
I guess that was kind of who I cheered for. I didn't have a team.
You can tell Ben grew up in a bad house.
Boo, Trojan.
I'm just saying that should show you the fact that I love Josh Rosen as much as I do. Rumi, for people who might necessarily not have watched as much as Josh.
That was funny.
I didn't even hear it, but
she said, "Boo Trojans." I said I'm more of a Magnum guy myself.
Okay, all right. I'll give you credit. That was funny. Kyle's just on tonight. Now, Rumi.
Well, hopefully. I don't want to get.
Okay, all right. Oh my God, Jesus. Okay, Rumi.
We're just giving away downloads. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Rumi. For somebody who maybe hasn't watched Rosen game in and game out like you have, can you kind of give our listeners kind of a scouting report on Rosen? I mean, look, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably really in tune with what the Jets are going to do and what these 2018 quarterbacks are going to be. Yeah. But kind of just break down Rosen and why you love him as much as you do.
Okay, so first of all, everybody knows he's intelligent. He's able to pick off the defenses. He knows, if one wide receiver is not open, even though under pressure, he's able to find the other person quickly. He has great footwork, based on he used to play tennis. And also, he has a good pocket sense. Like, he knows, how to throw it where it's it lands on the guy's hands perfectly. I don't know if you watched him, but all those long throws that he threw, it's it always, the pass is always, right on the money, where it's supposed to be. His weakness, though, he does have a weakness, is, he needs to be faster out of the pocket. He's not good at that. I know Darnold has an advantage on him, but for the most part, he's, more pro-ready. I mean, he came off of that shoulder injury last season, and he worked really hard, and I just think he's the most pro-ready quarterback on the roster.
Yeah, I agree too. I think he might be the most pro-ready quarterback to come out in years.
Right? Okay.
And out of all of them, he has the highest floor, which is, if all these quarterbacks just don't really develop as we want them to, they just kind of come out and, let's say they just don't develop, they just come out like they are right now, Josh Rosen will be the best.
And he doesn't fumble the ball either, Darnold.
Darnold, 11 fumbles last year is in, 12 games? I mean, that's a high number.
He's got worse hands than Stephen Hill.
Wow, Kyle is just killing it tonight. I love it. But Rumi, I mean, what are you concerned at all about these injuries, or even kind of the concerns about him being pretentious or whatnot and not getting along with the teammates?
That really upsets me when they say about his concussions and everything. But
people also hate
Kanye. Hit so many times. I heard Mayfield had concussions too. They don't talk about that. But if you watch the games, he got hit so many times, and he got bloody nose, bloody face, and he still played.
Okay, to be fair, his nose is kind of out there. If we're being honest.
But, he was bleeding, though. I mean, he wanted to be in the game, and people saying he doesn't love football, he's not competitive. It's
he can do something else.
What do you mean?
He can have a more successful career elsewhere, so that means he's going to be a terrible quarterback, right?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. I don't know where they get that from. It's ridiculous. He didn't say he wants to be a stockbroker, right now. I don't know where they get these, I don't know.
Rumi, here's the thing. When they can't find a problem with you as a prospect, they're going to nitpick you one way or another. And when there are multiple problems from you as a prospect, they're going to glorify your good parts. Look at Josh Allen. He's trash. Hot trash. He couldn't dominate at the JUCO level, and apparently he doesn't know how to clean up his Twitter. So what do? He has a big arm. They have him throw from his knees 80 yards. Hell, I could throw probably 35 yards inside of a dome on a straight line with no pressure and some gym
he's
shorts.
He's like Ben Roethlisberger. He has a big body build. Like 6'5", he's tall, big.
Yeah, wow, I really want that in a quarterback. Big and a big arm.
I agree
Can't hit the receiver, though. And then you look at a guy like Josh Rosen, does everything perfect mechanics, has very good arm strength. Doesn't have Josh Allen arm strength. I don't need your guy to throw 80 yards. I don't need that.
True. And plus they're saying he's a rich kid. He's not that rich where, like, he was saying down the interview, it's not like he has a private jet and he has, like, a butler at his house. They think that's where he is.
I don't care about money. The more money they have as a child, it's good. That means the money's not new to them. They're not going to blow it. They're not going to let it go to their head. If anything, it's a good thing. So, I mean, I look at that as a plus for most prospects because, believe it or not, money is the death of a lot of prospects in the NFL. They get money. They go buy cars. They don't buy their mama a house. They go and spend it on dumb things in the club, and, then you have a DUI. You're driving the wrong way down the Lincoln Tunnel. It happens. So I don't care about Josh Rosen's money. I don't care about what people say about him behind the scenes because he's damn near a perfect prospect when it comes to being a quarterback. Is he as tall as Josh Allen? No. Can he throw it 80 yards? Probably not. Maybe if he warms up really well and that's his one throw of the day. We don't need that, though. He can drop it in the breadbasket wherever you need on the field. The touch on his passes in the back of the end zone are gorgeous. If you look at what Andrew Luck was coming out of college, Josh Rosen's the closest thing we've had to him in years. And you want to talk about durability issues. I didn't hear any of that when Andrew Luck was coming out, and that was more evident than ever for Andrew Luck, and it's more evident than now in his career. Josh Rosen has a couple concussions. Yeah, is that concerning? Could he walk away from the game if he wanted to? Absolutely. Do I think he will? No, concussions are a part of the game. I'm sure there are a lot more concussions that go unreported than the ones that do go reported. So all these so-called analysts that want to go ahead and pick him apart because he's a rich kid whose father was successful and his family was successful, and then, he didn't have to work as hard as these other guys like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was a rich kid from Texas, too. He just didn't have the grades. That's the bottom line. Baker Mayfield comes from money in Texas. Boy. Look where he comes from. I mean, there are narratives that get pushed just to push up certain prospects. And I think these are the traps that certain teams fall into year after year. And I think it's ridiculous.
And he didn't have a running back, too. He didn't have Ronald Jones like Darnold did. I mean, he threw, like, one time, did you see that one game? He threw, like, 40, 50 times a game. I will say he didn't even get tired.
UCLA, an exception to Colton Miller, who might end up sneaking into the first round this year, was a talentless team. Talentless.
That's true. Well, Wilson was hurt, and his wide receiver Andrews was hurt. Those are the two targets got out early.
And what I'll say about Baker, and I could probably make this case for Josh Rosen. Baker played with phenomenal talent for most of his career. Guys that were getting drafted. Samaje P. Ryan, Joe Mixon.
He has a tight end, too, right? Isn't that guy Mark Andrews or something from Oklahoma?
Mark Andrews. In previous years, D.D. Westbrook. He has had NFL-level talent at almost every position. And that's not a hinder to Baker because he performs with it. And Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback who will be successful in this league, and I love Baker. Josh Rosen has played with almost nobody. Almost nobody. And and he's not in the best conference. I don't think highly of the Pac-12. I really don't.
Hey, don't be banging on the Pac-12 here.
And teams, he didn't, where were they at this point this year? I don't think they were top 25 really at any point. Were they?
No, they went, 6-5 or something like that?
We were one short of a bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't play that well.
They weren't a successful team. You had an idiot coach who couldn't recruit, an exception to one good quarterback.
Yes, the O-line was horrible.
Colton Miller was the only person who was good on that O-line, and he's going to get drafted in the first round. And besides that, the rest of the team was terrible. Josh Rosen has worked with very little throughout his collegiate career. But
you know what? He didn't throw anybody under the bus either.
No. They want to talk about bad teammates. Bad teammates are, hey, he didn't perform well because, his accuracy percentage isn't good because he didn't have anybody to throw to. That's being a bad teammate. And I guarantee you that's been said in interviews. Hey, and I'm not trying to say Josh Allen, but you know what I mean here. Hey, why'd you have a 54% completion percentage? I just feel like some of my guys dropped a lot of balls, which is true. You don't say that though as a quarterback. You don't, and it's been said. So I'm kind of sick of this narrative about Josh Rosen.
Different. I don't know.
I want to chime in on Allen really quickly before we
I just went on the best rant of my Jet Take career.
Yeah, you did. You actually, look at Kyle. In addition to Josh Allen tweeting about male genitals, it's now turning racist, which is...
He did? I don't follow him, so I don't know what he's doing.
Getting pretty... I got to be honest, these Josh Allen tweets, and look, we'll see how much NFL teams put...
How racist are we talking?
Not too bad. Not...
Is Lamar Jackson going to have to score this man?
It's just... He shouldn't be saying some of the stuff he's saying. Yeah, it's not great.
No!
Anyways, it's peculiar these tweets are coming out the night before the draft, and as I tweeted...
Oh, my God!
I have a question for you guys, though. For the third round, do you think that we should get a tight end? Because I'm not sure about Jordan Leggett or Eric Tomlinson. I don't know. Because, we lost ASJ.
Rumi, I'm going to answer this question, and this actually works well with what I was about to talk about. But, yeah, Kyle, I said it wasn't too bad because I was like, okay, well, it's not great. But, yeah, I just saw...
he dropped an N-bomb.
Yeah, I just saw that. It got way worse. Anyways, yes, Rumi, that was kind of what I was... And just to finish the Allen point, I got to say, it's a little bit peculiar coming out the night before the draft. You think maybe Bill Belichick leaking this right before the draft, maybe he'll fall right to him? Never know. He's a mastermind. Anyways, back to what you're talking about.
Josh Allen quote, "Why are you so white? If I ain't white, it ain't right." Oh, my God.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, my God.
It's getting worse. Anyways, Rumi, but yeah, as far as taking a guy like
Andrews, can I finish the rumor right now? I did not hack Josh Allen's account. I do not value my life that much. So I just want to throw that out.
Well, whoever's I don't know who found those tweets. Jeez, how did they not get found earlier? But
NFL Rumi, teams definitely found that.
Yeah. Rumi, now speaking of tight ends and stuff. Yeah, I mean I don't think it's as big of a need now that they've added Walford. They clearly love Leggett. So I don't think I'd address it with third.
I gotta go.
Kyle's just derailing the show. I shouldn't have even shown him these tweets. Yeah, I think there are bigger needs on the roster, to put it blunt. But the question I kind of want to ask to you, and it's kind of our last question for you, is, and I was going to actually tie it into Jordan Lasley, Rosen's receiver.
Oh, I like Jordan Lasley.
Yeah,
he didn't do good. He didn't do well in the combine, though.
Yes, but how much stock do you put into, when you draft your quarterbacks, let's say the Jets take Rosen with their third pick, maybe if they added a guy like Lasley in the 5th or 6th round, bringing a guy he has familiarity with, or for Baker Mayfield, adding a guy like Mark Andrews in the 3rd or the 4th. Yeah. How much stock do you think that would you put into that, and how much do you think that would help a rookie quarterback?
That would actually help if they got Lasley, because like you said, Rosen's really familiar with him, and I don't know if they're going to draft him. I don't know where he's ranked right now, because I don't know if he's a 3rd or 4th round. But if we got him, that would be a good addition to the wide receiver core. But we have too many, though. Don't we have like 16 wide receivers? We got rid of one.
Yeah, but most of them are going to be gone. I think you're looking at a wide receiver depth chart of Enunwa, Anderson, Pryor, Kearse. Then I think
Devin Smith, right? He's gonna be gone.
Then I think then I think you're looking at Hanson,
Devin Smith
Stewart, whoever they pick. It's really not locked. Really outside of 3 guys, and then probably 4 if you include Pryor.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great if we got Lasley, but nobody's talking about him right now. I don't know if they're looking at him, but yeah, if we get Rosen, definitely we should get him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Lasley, I mean, you said he didn't have a great combine, but I love him on the
he's
field.
A good dancer, too. He would go well with Darron Lee and Jamal Adams. Did you see that he was dancing? You saw that clip, right, when he was dancing?
Oh, how do we not see it?
Who, Baker?
That was awesome. Okay.
No, he's talking about Jordan Lasley. Well, Rumi, it was great to have you on the show. We love hearing from you.
Thank you so much for having me on. That was nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, we got to have you on the show again. I know you're talking about how you DM'd me and said you were a little nervous. I was like,
well, it's been a long
when Kyle Fahey's running the show.
In so long.
I know it's been a while, but when Kyle Fahey's running the show, you don't ever have to be nervous. I mean, he's just a loose cannon. So, but Rumi, really quickly shout out. Oh, he's still here. Really quickly, shout out your Twitter so our listeners can give you a follow.
I just woke up my dad to show him these Josh Allen tweets.
Twitter handle is at RKLoveJets.
All right. Well, Rumi, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to hear from you soon. Next week, the Jets will have a franchise quarterback.
Exactly. Hope it's Rosen or Mayfield. I really hope it's either of those two. I'll take Rosen, though. No, Rosen is my number 1.
I don't think Josh Allen's going to survive draft night.
He's so obsessed with Josh Allen's tweets.
Rumi, wait till you see these tweets. Like, he's done.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
This isn't good.
And somebody just tweeted, it reminds us of the Laramie Tunzel, what was it? He had the gas bong or whatever.
Yeah,
you remember he
okay.
had the gas mask bong?
If you think smoking weed is similar to...
No, it's not. But I'm saying the fact that
No, I know.
I don't mean to say anything, but this should hurt Josh Allen's draft stock. I don't think he's going number one. But, I mean, now, it's not horrible in the sense of...
I think LeBron just hit a game winner. This is going to hide it. This isn't good.
Let's go.
No. We don't want Josh Allen to get away with this.
No, I don't care. But, LeBron was the first ever basketball player I saw when I was a kid. So, I mean, Lillard's my favorite.
Fake news. Brandon Roy.
Oh, yeah, that's a great... Well, no, as far as who I saw on TV, it was LeBron, but in person it was Brandon Roy. But, Brandon Roy was my favorite. I have a giant poster of it. I forgot about it. But, no, I like LeBron, and I wanted to establish himself as the GOAT instead of MJ. But that's a different topic. We got draft stuff to talk about. We're on to our closer. We're in the ninth inning. We got to bring on our closer.
Scott knows. We can talk about Josh Allen.
It's Mariano Rivera time.
Yeah.
Scott.
Enter the Sandman. Oh, wait. Oh,
welcome to the show,
Did
Scott.
we get that soundbite done?
What? No, but it's still on my phone.
All right. Yeah, okay.
Scott, welcome to the show.
I think Scott's busy.
Hey, guys. First of all, who would have thought that Kyle Fahey would go back in time a couple of years, retroactively hack Josh Allen's Twitter account, and look at what came out. Ben, you know what's funny?
We're going to have to scratch
I was reading those tweets to my girlfriend, and she said, who dug into that? Some New York reporter? Why are they doing that to this kid? And I said, no, it was Ben. And she goes, Ben, what's the matter with Ben? Why is she trying to ruin this kid's life on the eve of the biggest day of his life? So I just thought that was funny, although I'm all for what you're doing because it's journalism, Ben.
I love it. Scott, a lot of the callers we've had on have been very, very pro Rosen. You like
I can't imagine why that would be, Ben.
Oh, what are you hinting at?
I'm hinting at the fact that a lot of times, and this happens with anybody, the callers tend to take on the personality of the hosts. It's fine. I've had that happen with me a bunch of times. I mean, we remember what happened.
Rumi has been a fan of UCLA football.
I know. I'm busting your chops. Obviously, I'm not. Yeah, I'm busting your chops. No, seriously. Obviously, Paulie's loved Josh Rosen for like 3 years or whatever. And Ruby's a big UCLA fan. I'm just busting your chops. No, I think we've been over this, man. I think both guys are really good. What happened now?
There are more.
Oh no.
Look what was just sent to the chat.
Oh God. Okay, Kyle. Just for the sake of the show, Kyle. Please. Yeah, I know. Please. Just,
if you're listening to this when the show is over, go follow. If you're not following already, go follow the Jet Take, and they will have all of these tweets up for you. This is gonna be some fun stuff to look at.
Kyle, for the sake of the show, I'm just gonna ask you. Let's just cool it on these tweets.
I'm gonna mute myself.
Because our podcast listeners don't know what you're necessarily talking about, and I don't really want to read these tweets on air. So, Kyle, we understand Josh Allen has some skeletons in his closet. We'll move on though. Scott, what you were saying?
Skeletons. Well, the color is skeletons anyway. I think with both of those guys, with Rosen and Mayfield, because I talked to our man Jeff Lloyd, the man on the scene in Cleveland, and he seems still very, very convinced that Darnold is going to be the guy. I know Mary Kay Cabot came out and was saying that she thinks that Allen, well, I don't know if this will affect that, but she said she thinks it's Allen or Mayfield. I don't know. It seems like she's been kind of off a lot of the way. She's become kind of a laughing stock with people that are Browns fans. But Jeff seems pretty convinced that it's going to be Darnold. So let's work off of that assumption. If that's the case, we'll see what the Giants do. But if the Jets have the choice, if it ends up that the Giants go non-quarterback and the Jets have their choice of Allen, Mayfield, or Rosen, I don't really know what to think, guys, because – I joked about this on Twitter earlier. At first, if you go back to, toward the end of the season, you had people, Rich Cimini was on with me on the podcast on the roundtable, saying the Jets really liked Josh Allen, and he thought Josh Allen was at the top of their list. And then we heard for a while, well, it would be Darnold if he's available. Then it was Mayfield is the guy, and it's pretty much a lock. Then the last couple of days it was, no, the Mayfield's a smokescreen, and they really want Rosen. So who really knows what's going on? I think it's one of two things. Either the Jets are purposefully leaking a bunch of stuff to confuse people, or they're not leaking anything and people are just making educated guesses so that I think Glenn Naughton from Jet Nation Radio said this, that when the pick gets made, everybody can claim that they had it first. They can say, see, I said this guy, I said that guy, which is the Benjamin Albright model of reporting, apparently, as we've discovered. Because I believe Benjamin Albright yesterday more or less said it would be Darnold as a lock, and then this morning he's saying, if I had to say today, it would be Mayfield. So the guy is just all over the place. But I don't know what to believe. I have my strong suspicion that if Maccagnan had his choice of quarterbacks, it would be Darnold. I think that's why he tried to trade up to number one, because you remember he did call the Browns and try to trade up to number one before making the deal with Indianapolis. So it shows you that clearly there is one quarterback that he thinks is better than the rest, maybe not that much better, which is why he stopped short of giving up the farm to go up to number one. I suspect Darnold is the guy that he would pick if he had his choice. I don't think he's going to get that choice. I've become more and more convinced, and I don't want to say this because I'll jinx it, that they're not going to take the risk on Josh Allen. They realize that it's just too, like you were saying earlier, Ben, to take another project the way that they did with Hackenberg, a guy who they have to rebuild from scratch. This is their third bite at the quarterback apple, although obviously this is the big one because the other two, second round was a solid investment. Petty was really more of a mid-round flyer, so I'm not going to kill Maccagnan on that too much. I think they probably realize that he's going to be a lot of work and they can't afford to take a risk like that. So I think it does come down to Mayfield and Rosen more than likely. And I think you can't really lose here. Here's my thing. I was talking I always say he's my long-lost brother, separated from birth, Juan Moya, who you should follow on Twitter, by the way, at Juan C. Moya. And we were saying we're both Baker people above Rosen. We're both saying, and Kyle Smith said this as well, I was talking to him earlier, that we all want Baker. If the Jets don't pick Baker, we will definitely be significantly disappointed. However, we all think Rosen is good. And if the pick is Rosen, we'll all get behind him and hope for the best. I just think for me, I think Rosen is the safe pick. I think he's the guy, like you were saying, Ben, who has the highest floor. I think barring injuries, the likelihood of him at least not being a good quarterback is very small because of how polished he is. And you've talked about this. He's the best pure pocket passer in the group for sure. I think that who was the one that was it? Paulie, bless his heart, was saying that he compared him to Aaron Rodgers, right? Paulie was the one that did that.
Personality-wise.
All right, personality-wise, I could see it a little bit. I don't see the game so much. I mean, I'm not saying that Rosen isn't good. I'm just saying I don't see the similar. I think if anything, if anybody could potentially reach that Rodgers level, it would be Darnold. But again, he's a riskier pick. I think he's got a lower floor. I just think that, and Edward Gorelick, our analytics guy at TOJ, has been talking about this. I think Rosen's the safe pick. He's the guy that I've said this many times. I think he's going to be somewhere between Eli Manning and Matt Ryan if he stays healthy. So I think he's going to be in that like 10 to 15 range, maybe a little higher, maybe 8 to 15 if he stays healthy. But I feel like Mayfield has the potential to be a cut above that. I think he could be a top 5 quarterback if everything goes right. And I think that it would, especially I think he would be a great fit in the Jets system. And on top of it, man, look, I hate when people use the swagger as an excuse to dress. Because, look, David Aiken said this, the swagger thing is nice. It's a good added bonus. But his play on the field is what you should be focusing on first and foremost. And I think that Mayfield's play on the field, he has a chance to be a dynamic and special player. The creativity in the pocket, his accuracy under pressure, just certain traits that he has, his ability to escape. I know people have said, he doesn't have the superior athleticism of like a Russell Wilson, but he's got that excellent footwork when the chaos comes. So and on top of it, there is value to having somebody like him on one side of the ball and Jamal Adams on the other side of the ball. So I think Mayfield is a guy he's a perfect fit for the Jets. I think he would be just it would be the opportunity to draft a real, just flat out like exciting superstar. Whereas I think Rosen will be good. I just don't. I feel like Baker will be better. So that's just my own opinion. But I think if the Jets get either one, there's nothing. There's no reason the Jet fans shouldn't, or even Darnold. I like Darnold a lot. In fact, I think he has the potentially the best of all three. So if the Jets get any of the three, Ben, you've said this over and over again. If they get any of the three, then Jet fans should be happy. Now, the level of happiness depends on who it is you prefer. Obviously, Ben, you prefer Rosen. I think, Fahey, you prefer Rosen as well, although you like Baker a lot. I know you guys both like Baker, although I think, Fahey, you like Baker better than Ben does, correct?
Oh, no. I don't. I think Kyle and I actually
I can relate to Baker more.
Yeah, I think Kyle's a little more. I guess.
True.
If Baker had to choose which one of us he'd have a drink with, it'd probably be Kyle. But no, I mean, as far as
well, probably not Ben, because because I don't think he's going to be having a drink with a 16-year-old. That would be bad for his draft stock. But I hear you.
Hey! I'm 18 on Friday.
That is Josh Allen.
I'm 18 in 2 days. So
no, I'm talking about Kyle. You said that he would rather have a drink with Kyle.
I guess I should note that while we brought it up. Kyle will be 17 in the 30th. So what is that? The Monday?
Yep.
So I'll be 18 on Friday. Kyle will be 17 on Monday. Just
Ben,
in European countries, you'd both be able to drink.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we could if Baker Mayfield and I went to Europe. But no, I mean, I love Josh Rosen, and I'm also a huge fan of Baker Mayfield. Like, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like, if I had to give it, out of 10, I'd say Josh Rosen, I'm a 10 out of 10 on. Baker Mayfield, I'm a 9 out of 10 on. And Sam Darnold.
I would say you could flip that for me. I would say that you could flip that for me.
And look, we're all entitled to our own opinions. But Scott, I wanted to get. Obviously, you want Mayfield. Is that who you think it's going to be?
I honestly don't know, man. I mean, I don't know what to think because it's weird. The more you hear, because I will say the stuff about Baker did sound really, really loud to me. Like, it's like, wow, this is really weird. Why is all of this out there? Why am I hearing so much noise? This doesn't feel right because the Jets aren't going to tip their hand like that. But at the same time, you wonder if the noise was coming from Baker's camp. Because remember, Robert Klemko, who's been doing that series on SI with Mayfield, he came out and said something along the lines of, if I had to bet, I'd bet Mayfield to the Jets for reasons that I can get into after the draft. So I wonder if Klemko, filmed something for his series with McCagnon or one of those guys talking to Mayfield, saying to him, hey, if you're on the board at 3, we're going to take you. You know what I mean? I don't know. Or, again, it could all be one giant smokescreen, and they've wanted Rosen the whole time, and they've been floating Mayfield out there to distract people. I have no clue. Hell, it could all be a smokescreen for Allen. I hope not, although I think you guys might have ruined his draft stock. So I will say this, guys. Get Schofield on the line, because if Allen drops in this draft, he might have a legal action against you guys for defamation of character or something like that.
For who exactly?
We'll see how Schofield reacts to it, because Schofield could be happy with Allen in New England. I've said it. Yeah. The only way Allen's going to be successful is if he's able to sit, and who better to sit behind and play in a better system than New England behind Tom Brady for the next year or two. Now, Scott.
Yeah, it's true.
We have Kyle and I both have our 7-round mock drafts for the Jets.
Okay.
We'll get to those in a second. We want you to kind of give your thoughts on who we thought.
Sure.
Picked. But before we get into that, I just wanted to get outside of the quarterbacks. Obviously you were part of the TOJ mock draft that we all did, so you have a vast knowledge, I guess, of some mid-round prospects you like. So I want one prospect that's not a quarterback that you really want, so probably somebody in the third, and then a day 3 guy, so a guy a little later that you'd like the Jets to invest a pick in.
Okay, I guess a lot of it, and it comes back to what you were just talking about with Ruby, and you and I have talked about this a lot, Ben. Part of why I liked Spencer Long, in addition to the fact that I thought he was a much better center than people were giving him credit for, was I love the idea of bringing him in with Kirk Cousins, because there's a familiarity there, I think when it comes to who the Jets draft at quarterback, I kind of like the idea of what you were mentioning before pairing. So I think if the Jets draft Mayfield in the first, I like the idea if he's on the board of grabbing his best friend Mark Andrews in the third, because Andrews is a guy that the Jets could certainly need, a big body, targeted tight end who can really stretch the passing game. And on top of it, he and Mayfield already have an incredible bond. Like I said, they're best friends. In fact, when I spoke to Eddie Radosevich for the quarterback special, the reporter for Soonerscoop.com, he was telling me how Mayfield and Andrews he had seen the two of them hanging out the night before, just having a beer at wherever they were, at like Applebee's or something, whatever it was. So the two of them are really, I think they would be a really nice tandem. It would be a nice little gift to give Mayfield if that's who you pick in the first. If you pick Rosen, I think it would be interesting to pick Jordan Lastly. Now, from our man on the ground, Connor Rogers, he says that Lastly is kind of going to be like Callaway in the sense that, not to the extent of Callaway's problems, but that Lastly's going to drop quite a bit. He probably won't go until the very late rounds. So I kind of like the idea of bringing him in for Rosen if the Jets draft Rosen. Beyond those guys, I like Callaway a lot. I think Fahey is very much understating the concerns with him. It's a lot more than just smoking weed. Although I will say this, I think it was Mike Freeman that said this. It's one thing to think that testing for weed is stupid, but it's another thing to know that they're testing for weed and still get caught with it. Yeah, it shows bad judgment. I mean, and that's not the first thing. Look, let's just be honest about it. Antonio Callaway is a first-class knucklehead and a dummy. I mean, that's just the way it is. He has terrible judgment, and he's a guy that you would think would realize that with his talent, if he could just keep his head on straight for 5 seconds, he could have had a really nice deal for himself. He probably would have been the first wide receiver drafted in this class if he wasn't such a dope and a character problem. But now he's a guy that I think half the teams in the league are going to have off the board. He's probably not going to go until the 5th, 6th, 7th round. But, that's what those draft picks are for, man. You take flyers on guys that maybe had injuries, maybe had character issues, maybe aren't super athletic. Maybe they had a late position switch. That's how, as far as character concerns, if you remember, and this might be before your time, but Jason Ferguson, who was a really good nose tackle for the Jets out of the University of Georgia, the Jets stole him in the 7th round, even though a lot of people thought he had first or second round talent because he tested positive for marijuana at the combine. So, again, Callaway's problem's far greater than that, but that's where you take a shot at a guy like that, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. So I kind of like that idea because then if he's an idiot, who cares? So what? You wasted a 6th round pick, big deal. And if you hit, well, the rewards, it's a boomer bust pick, and I think that's where you take a guy like that. Another guy that I really like in the mid round, in the mid rounds, because that was my late round guy, is Rashad Penny. Joe Malfa and I have been on that one for a while. I just love everything that Rashad Penny can do. He has minor flaws. Joe Malfa's talked about this. Sometimes he doesn't, when he's running, he kind of focuses singularly straight in front of him. So he's going to have to kind of work on that. But he can catch out of the backfield. He can block. He can run. He's not the biggest guy, but he's very quick and agile. And we spoke to on draft season Chris Ello, who was the sideline reporter, and he said that Rashad Penny is just a terrific kid. And he even told the story about how he inadvertently inserted himself into a game when he was a freshman and ended up making a big play. He thought the coaches threw him into the game, but it was a misunderstanding, but he ended up making a big play out of it. So I think it would be nice to have a weapon like that for whoever the new quarterback is, too, a bit of a security blanket who can do everything. And look, let's be real about the running back situation. Crowell's a solid tailback, but he's not exactly multifaceted. He's not much of a threat catching passes out of the backfield. Bilal Powell's about to turn 30 years old. I like him, but if you can move him for even a late-round pick, it's probably worth it since he's in the last year of his deal. And Elijah McGuire, I mean, whatever. He was a 6th-round pick, so if you get anything out of him, great, but you can't really not pick a guy because of him. So I kind of like that. So that's what I would say. I'd say if we're looking at If we're looking at Rosen, I like the idea of teaming with Lastly. If we're looking at Mayfield, I like the idea of teaming him with Andrews. And then the other guys that I kind of like as far as a late round and a middle round pick are Rashad Penny from San Diego State, the running back, and Antonio Callaway, Fahey's long-lost brother, the wide receiver from Florida.
There's a couple cultural differences between him and I, but sure, we're adopted.
Well, slightly less cultural differences than between him and Josh Allen, apparently, but that's another story.
Don't get me started, man. I just calmed down.
Okay, Scott, let's go ahead and give you and our listeners our 7-round mock drafts. For my first-round pick, for the 3rd overall pick, and I didn't do any trades. I do think the Jets are going to trade down, but if there are no trades, here's my mock draft. With the 1st overall pick, or I guess the 3rd overall pick, in the first round for the New York Jets, I have them taking Josh Rosen, quarterback UCLA. I know, big surprise.
Okay.
Kyle, what's your pick?
Right.
I have them taking Saquon Barkley, running back from Penn State.
Okay, what? Give us your actual pick.
Michael Palace, is that you?
Scott, I could kill you right now. And I don't think
Kyle, give us your actual pick.
Josh Rosen.
All right. We kind of already know Scott's thoughts on Scott's thoughts. That should be a segment. Oh my God.
Deep thoughts
on Josh Rosen. But Scott, your reaction if Josh Rosen was the pick?
This is how I would put it. If it's Mayfield, I'll be ecstatic. If it's Rosen, I'll be happy. If it's Darnold, I'll be content or at least pretty, I'd say happy. And if it's anybody other than those three, then I'm just going to probably curl up in a ball and say he will hear me, my depressed rantings with him tomorrow night on the special live edition of the Jet Take.
All right, in the 3rd round, I have the Jets getting a pass rusher, 3-4 outside linebacker, Arden Key from LSU.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
If he falls.
I have some. I alluded to this earlier, and I've heard that he can fall. I don't think he'll fall to the 3rd round, but in the simulator that I used, he fell. Cortland Sutton, wide receiver, Southern Methodist.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Sutton's probably unlikely to fall to the 3rd, but if he's there, especially with a new quarterback, it's not a bad thing considering that the wide receiving core is Robbie Anderson, who obviously has had some issues off the field. Quincy Nunez coming off a major injury. Terrell Pryor, who was bad last year and was injured. So, and Kurtz is like a fine receiver, but nothing special. So if a guy like that's there in the 3rd, it's definitely, I think, worth looking into, although I don't know that he will be. Arden Key, I'm hearing all this buzz now that Key could slip all the way to the 4th or 5th round. Seems like a lot of teams are souring on him because his pro day was terrible, and they're saying that teams get the impression from him that he just doesn't care and doesn't want to work. So if you combine that with the fact that he had a really ugly...
Why are we talking about me?
Fahey, you better care and want to work tomorrow night. We're all counting on you, buddy. You're anchoring our most important...
I am confirming right now, like, when I'm getting my makeup done. Like, that's not a joke. I'm actually getting makeup done.
Listen, that's a question for Joe. He's the one with the makeup budget, not me. But I think if Key does...
on this.
But if Key does slip to the 3rd, I wouldn't necessarily be against it. I just would hope that the Jets did their due diligence because, look, Muhammad Wilkerson's an example of what can happen when a player just doesn't care. And that was a red flag if you read Collision Low Crossers. Muhammad Wilkerson, in the pre-draft interviews, talked about how a lot of the time he just didn't give a full effort. And, look, he ended up becoming a really good player, at least for a while, and then he kind of tailed off. But if Arden Key is going to be a guy like that, then, but I think just on talent alone, if he's there in 3rd, it wouldn't be a bad pick because you look at a guy that if you can motivate him, he could potentially be, a real force at edge rusher. But it's going to be something where you would hope that the front office and the scouts did their due diligence and their homework.
Yeah. All right, Kyle. You already gave yours. All right, for the 4th round, I have the Jets getting some secondary depth. This is a really Bulls-type pick. I have them taking Holton Hill, the cornerback from Texas, a big, strong corner. He can slide in as your fourth or fifth corner. And again, as we talked about, the secondary depth is something I'm really concerned about for the Jets. And so, you know, you have your top three. You have Johnson, you have Claiborne, you have Screen. But outside of that, it's unknown. So you bring in a guy like Hill, you lock his spot down, and then you just have a competition throughout all the young guys. You have Darryl Roberts, you have Rashard Robinson, you have Justin Burris, you have Justin Clark. Yeah, that's his name, right? Yeah. I feel like I messed his name up.
No, that's not right. That isn't Jeremy Clark. Yep.
Derek Jones. I knew it. It just sounded weird when it came out. You have a lot of young. Xavier Cohen's one of them. You have a lot of young corners, and you can let them fight. But I think Holton Hill really brings the Jets some versatility, and I really like him as a prospect. And he's a great value in the fourth round. Kyle?
Fourth round, I have the Jets taking Quentin Meeks, cornerback from Stanford, a guy who I actually really like. Son of a coach, good, lanky, athletic guy. Yeah, son of a coach. What you look for. Athletic, comes from a good school. I mean, David Shaw is an individual who I really respect at the collegiate level as a coach. I really think that if he wanted to, he can make a very solid run in the NFL. So whenever I get the opportunity to watch some of his players, you know, I take that opportunity, and Meeks is a guy who I think will go in the third or fourth round, just depending on how the cornerback, you know, I guess position shakes out. So we get Meeks in the fourth round. Hopefully no leaks from Meeks on defense.
Scott, your thoughts on us both doubling down on corners?
Yeah,
I like both of those guys. I like Fahey when you say son of a coach, and I know it sounds stupid, but it is true. When you have somebody who's a second or third generation player or a coach's kid, there's just something. It just seems like a lot of times those guys just have a certain knack or special, I guess, respect for the game. Just, you know, as an example, Eric McMillan, who was a guest on Play Like a Jet, who won Rookie of the Year in 1988, by the way. He was the son of an all-pro offensive lineman, and he grew up around the game and really learned to respect it. Whenever you have a coach's kid, a lot of times you see that. And by the way, another example of what I'm talking about there with you know, players who have parents who played. Jamal Adams obviously is a guy who grew up around football and really, you know, that was something he was born to respect and all that. And I think Meeks is a good player, especially in the fourth round. And like you said, David Shaw is good at cranking out high character guys, I guess you would say, in addition. So I think that would be good. And I love Holton Hill. Again, I'm a little bit biased because I'm a Texas fan, but I think he could potentially become a solid corner. I'm not going to say that he would be even necessarily a 1 or a 2, but I think at a certain point he could maybe ascend to a number 3 cornerback. And if he can get a good one in the fourth round, that's definitely a worthwhile investment, especially since, Ben, as you pointed out, corner depth is a big problem for this team because you have Tremaine Johnson, who, I mean, knock on wood, has been healthy on a regular basis. So you would think there isn't anything to worry about there. But Morris Claiborne, he played almost every game last year, but for the most part in his career, he's been hurt quite a bit. And then behind him, you don't really just have a bunch of question marks. I mean, Darryl Roberts isn't very good. Justin Burris isn't very good. We have no idea what this team is going to get from some of these other corners that they have. Clark, we don't know what they're getting out of him. Who's Jones? We don't have no idea if we're getting anything out of him. So I agree with you. I think if you could get a guy like Meeks or Hill in that round, that's certainly a solid way to go.
All right, with the fifth round pick for the Jets, I have them getting their future starting defensive end, a guy I really like. And I don't want to butcher this.
Really? Seriously?
I said it, Kyle, when you brought him up. Hercules Mataafa, the defensive end from Washington State.
All right, we picked the same guy.
All right, well then, Kyle or Scott, take it away on Hercules. I love the name.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I was just going to say I like it. Anytime you can draft a guy like Hercules, I think he could be a nice player there, and maybe an eventual, I know he's not necessarily the same type of player, but an eventual replacement in the rotation for McClendon if McClendon if chooses to move on or eventually is moved because, you know, McClendon's in his early 30s now. I think McClendon's a really good player, and I think that Mike Pinnell really stepped up and played very well last year when he was given the opportunity. I see Leonard Williams being here for a long time, but I like Hercules. I think he could be a really nice player on that line, and I like it.
All right. In the 6th round, I have the Jets getting some offensive line depth, which is the last thing that I said they needed to acquire. I have them getting guard Wyatt Teller from Virginia Tech. If he falls this much, was a very productive guard. He was scheduled to go probably around day 3, but he had a poor Senior Bowl showing, so I think he could fall to the 6. If he's there, I think the Jets should absolutely snag him up. Carpenter and Winters did not play well last year. We'll see if the change scheme to Rick Dennison's zone blocking will help them. But if not, or more likely, James Carpenter won't be on the team next year. You can have a guy like Teller slide in. And as one of our callers mentioned earlier, a guy that Mike McCagnon doesn't get nearly enough credit for is Brandon Shell, who's a very solid starting right tackle. I think you can find another guy like him, day 3 pick, Wyatt Teller, who can be your starting guard in 2019 and as a depth guy this year.
Kyle? In the 6th round, I have the Jets taking cornerback Nick Nelson from Wisconsin.
How is he still there?
I don't know.
Now, look, that is a great pick if he's there, but I don't see him really. I think he's going to go around 3 or 4.
Everything I've read on him, I'm not going to say I've talked to people because I haven't, but everything I've read says round 5 to 6.
All right, we'll see. Scott,
I like both. I like both of those guys. I think if Nelson's there, that's a good pick. I guess double up on the corners. Look, you can never have enough good corners, especially in a passing league. So that's fine. And then Ben, remind me again who you just said.
I had Wyatt Teller.
Oh, Wyatt Teller. Yeah.
Guard for Virginia Tech.
Sure. Yeah. No, Wyatt Teller's a good player, and I think you're right. They need depth on the offensive line. I would like some tackle depth as well, but this is a class that really is heavier in guards and tackles. There's not really a lot of good tackles in this draft. I think that Teller could...
Not to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off. The thing that I think is also great about Teller is how versatile he is.
I'm going to cut you off.
He started games at tackle. He started a few games at center. He played primarily at guard, but I think that's the best thing about him. When you're going to draft a guy in day 3, especially an offensive lineman, you want a guy who can play all the positions, and Teller could definitely do it. So I know. So while I think he's better as a guard, he can play tackle. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, but I think he's going to end up as a guard in the NFL for sure. I think that's one of the things, by the way, that I like about Spencer Long too, is that he can either shift to guard or stay at center either way. So if the Jets, let's say a guy like, I don't think it's going to happen, but let's say a guy like Frank Ragnow were to drop because of the injury and he were on the board in the 3rd round, I've seen some mock drafts. I still ultimately don't think there's any way it happens. But if it does happen, the Jets have the luxury of picking him and then maybe moving Long to guard or whatever. But, with Teller, I think Teller's a good player, versatile, but I think he projects to me as a guard in the NFL. I think he could be a good one. The interesting thing you mentioned, Dennison's zone blocking scheme, the Jets ran more zone than man last year, quite a bit more actually. Joe Blewett broke that down. I'm looking forward to when he and Kyle, I almost said Fahey, when Joe Blewett has his film room show starting. Fahey, you're on my brain right now, but Joe Blewett's got his film room show starting, coming. Listen, you know what it is? I'm just so excited for talking to you tomorrow for the draft that I can't stop thinking about how we're going to be talking about it.
Ben, I think you know what that meant. I don't think Scott know what that meant. We're just gonna let that.
I didn't know I don't know what you even said. So
we're gonna let it slide.
Keep it moving. Do you want us to get into or did you? I don't think you analyzed.
Yeah. Let me just finish up with Teller. Yeah. So I think the thing with that is that Joe Blewett's run a lot of has shown this on the film too, but Carpenter struggled a lot more than people realize, and he doesn't do well in these zone blocking schemes. So like you said, Ben, it's a possibility that if he doesn't play well this year, he could be gone. I have more hope for Winters because Winters was bad last year, but it turned out he was very badly injured. So I think that he'll improve. But, yeah, if you pick a guy like Teller, he certainly could be a depth guy this year and then kind of like Shell eventually move into the starting lineup. I don't think Shell has been anything special, by the way. He's been an okay tackle. But, again, when you pick a guy in the 5th round, I mean, they traded a 4th-round pick to get him, but when you pick a guy in the 5th round, if he can become even a serviceable right tackle, that's not a bad thing. And there's still room for him to improve. So, yeah, I like that, Ben. And certainly, Kyle, if you double up on the corners, it's not a bad thing, too, in a passing league.
All right, I think this last pick, Kyle and I might have the exact same one again. I have wide receiver Antonio Callaway.
False.
Wow. Okay. I think he's going to be available in the 7th round. I'm very excited. I think he brings a lot to the table. And as we talked about, look, when you don't have 2nd round picks, you have you kind of have to take some chances, and you take a chance on a guy who's a 1st round talent. He had some off field issues, obviously, but
a lot.
1st round talent. If you get him in the 7th round, if you can get him under the right guidance, I don't know if a guy like Jermaine Kearse, who's obviously a veteran wide receiver, just somebody in that locker room to get this guy's head straight. This guy can be special. So anytime you have a chance like that, it might not pan out, but you're picking in the 7th round. Most of the guys you pick in the 7th round, unless you're picking a punter or kicker, don't even make the 53. So I'll take a chance on a guy like Callaway.
I agree, and I've said this before. I actually talked to Jeff Lloyd about this, and he said he can see the comparison. I know that he's a bit before both of your time, but if you remember Santana Moss when he was with the Jets.
Yep.
Okay, I think Antonio Callaway could be a bigger, stronger Santana Moss. So, again, you get a guy like that in the 7th round. Now, obviously, there's at least a 50-50 chance that the guy is out of the league in a year or two because of boneheaded decisions. But like you said, Ben, when you don't have a 2nd round pick, when a guy with that kind of talent is on the board at the end of the draft in the 7th round, to me, you take him. And if he turns into, if you could keep his head on straight and he turns into a good player, one parallel that I'll make, a guy from another Florida school. Now, granted, the character concerns were nowhere near as bad as Callaway's, but he did get kicked out of school, and he did have his stock drop quite a bit. I'm talking about Lavernius Coles coming out of Florida State. He would have been a 1st round pick, but he ended up going in the 3rd because of the fact that he got kicked out of school, and he ended up becoming a damn good receiver for the Jets for quite a while. So, again, Callaway's transgression's a lot worse than Cole's. Cole's basically, if you go back and look, what happened there was he was given free clothes. It was him and Peter Warrick were basically given free clothing that they shouldn't have accepted, and Coles ended up getting the rap because Warrick was arguably the best player in the country at that point in time, although, funny enough, Coles would go on to a much better NFL career. But, yeah, if you would get a guy with that kind of talent way beyond where he would have gone otherwise, do it. And then, you know what? If you wasted a 7th round pick, you wasted a 7th round pick. So what?
I definitely thought you were describing Cam Newton. Got kicked off the team, Florida player. Because that was the best quarterback room in college football history.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, and then the guy who was ahead of Tebow, who was actually really good. God damn it.
Chris Leak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Kyle,
no, it's pretty good.
My 7th round pick is Ryan Izzo, tight end from Florida State. Nobody's going to know who that is. Nobody's going to know who that is. It's okay. Here's why I like him. He's probably going to be a 5th round pick in reality, but he slid to me in this simulator. Just reading quickly, his comparison is Anthony Fasano, according to Lance Zerline. He's 6'5". He ran a 4.94 40. He's got a solid vertical, a solid broad jump. He's an athlete, but his best part of his game is blocking. He's not an incredibly flashy receiver, but at 6'5" and 4.94 40-yard dash, that's something you can work with. He's not a guy who's going to be really slow off the line or anything, and I think in 7th round, just as an investment, I would love to take a good blocker who's 6'5", has a decent 40-yard dash for his size, and has athleticism. That just sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Scott's thoughts?
Yeah, no, sounds good. In the 7th round, why not?
All right, Scott, last thing. Which Jets draft would you be happier with, mine or Kyle's?
Okay, I would be more. Wait, what were your picks?
Yeah, so we'll recap. My 1st round pick, Josh Rosen, quarterback, UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
Third round, I have Arden Key, outside linebacker, LSU. 4th round, I have Holton Hill, cornerback from Texas. 5th round, I have Hercules Mataafa, the defensive end from Washington State. 6th round, I have Wyatt Teller, guard from Virginia Tech. And 7th round, I have Antonio Callaway, wide receiver from Florida. Kyle, give yours.
1st round, I have Josh Rosen. 3rd round, I have Cortland Sutton. 4th round, I have Quentin Meeks. 5th round, I have Hercules Mataafa. 6th round, I have Nick Nelson. And 7th round, I have Ryan Izzo.
No pass rusher. I don't mean to say anything. I don't see any outside linebacker there.
Really?
Man, it's a tough one.
It's
a tough one.
Hercules plays defensive end.
I have him listed as outside linebacker.
He's not an outside. What do you mean you have him listed? That's just such a cop. He's not an outside linebacker. He played defensive tackle in college.
The simulator I'm using has listed as.
He's a defensive end.
English, Christ.
Anyways, Scott, which draft would you be happier with? Kyle's, which was a very solid draft, but it definitely leaves the Jets with no outside linebacker, or mine, which I guess didn't necessarily. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, you can argue based off your preference why, I could see why somebody would want Quentin Meeks over Holton Hill or whatnot. But
here's what I'll say. Your draft, Ben, is more of a shoot for the moon draft, and Fahey's is more, and this is kind of funny considering it's Fahey. Fahey's is a little more pulled back. So I guess it's all a matter of preference. I would be happy with either draft, so I'm going to say it's a tie.
What? No, what? No. Only winners and losers here, Scott.
Okay, Scott.
All right.
This isn't soccer. We're real men here. All right. Winners
and participation trophies. Which one? If you had a gun to your head, which?
I'm gonna go with Ben's for two reasons. Slightly, very slight.
Scott's muted now. That's what just.
No. Hey, bring it back on. Eat shit, Kyle. Okay, sorry, Scott, you're back on.
Fahey, I liked yours a lot. The one thing is though, I like the fact that Ben snagged Callaway in the 7th because I love Callaway as a prospect.
I purposely didn't take Callaway because I've just been riding him like a tandem bike the last month.
I know, but I mean, I have to judge it based on this draft.
The wheel got a little wobbly, and I wasn't sure if I was going to finish the race with it.
Wow, cold take. All right, Scott, continue.
How was that a cold take?
Yeah, no, so that's Callaway, and also I like you shooting for the moon with Arden Key a little bit. But I do like Fahey's draft a lot. I like Meeks. I think he's going to be really good. I think Nick Nelson could be a really solid corner as well. If Sutton drops to the 3rd, it's solid. So, I mean, if the Jets
wait. You need... All right, so let's explain this. We both have the same quarterback, and we both have the same 5th-round pick. You just told me that Meeks and God damn it, Kyle.
Nelson.
Meeks and Nelson are going to be could be good corners.
Mm-hmm.
And you like Courtney.
Well, I think Holton Hill will also be a potentially a good corner. I basically think that all the players that you guys picked have
Texas player though. You're definitely biased towards the Texas player though.
Yeah, but I mean, you're asking me to judge based on my own point of view.
All right. Scott, thank you so much for choosing the right draft. Obviously. Okay, Scott, it is your time to shine. It is your time to shine.
Hold on,
I will get the music going.
I got it.
We got a big. No, I got it actually this time. We got a big weekend.
Man,
DOJ coverage. Scott,
so much.
We're gonna need all 5 minutes of this sound.
You
gotta go with the beat. All right, you gotta go.
Come on.
Okay.
Now.
So we've got coverage all over the place right now. In fact, available to download is Joe Caparoso's Turn on the Jets podcast. Can you lower that a little bit, guys? It's like blasting in my ears.
Are you kidding me?
But Joe Caparoso's podcast is up with his final preview, along with Connor Hughes, who writes for The Athletic, and Dalton Nasario, who's one of the hosts of Draft Season. So that's their final preview before the draft. Don't forget, Drew from Jersey, which is just funny to me to say because thinking his last name isn't actually from Jersey, but he was on with Connor Rogers in Connor's final preview before the draft on Stick to the Jets. So check that out. And then tomorrow, all the pandemonium begins, boys, because, as you know, we're going to be doing a live Jet Take at 8 o'clock sharp once the draft starts. Mr. Fahey will be in control. He is going to be the one anchoring.
I said minus me.
Yes, because unfortunately Ben will be leading the Youth of America at what is it that you're doing then? Whatever your retreat is.
Yeah, it's a school retreat thing for the
It's an AA meeting,
okay.
Let's be honest.
So,
no, it's not.
Right.
Look,
so,
hey.
You'll be leading the retreat and leading the future Youth of America, and while you do that, Kyle Fahey will be anchoring things. I'll start off the show with him, and I'm going to hang on to give until the Jets make the pick and then give my reaction. And then it's going to be a game of tag team the rest of the night. Joe Caporoso is going to get involved. Dan Mosher, the Mosh Pit, as we call him, he'll be in. Greg Armstrong will be calling in. We've got Dan Essien. David Aiken is going to be calling in. Michael Nania, your guy, Ben, he's going to be calling in. So all these guys, and then obviously your calls as well are welcome. So it's going to be everybody, instead of Ben co-hosting with Kyle, it's going to be everybody from Team TOJ taking turns all night, and Kyle will be taking phone calls from everybody who is going to be, I don't know what that was, Fahey, but Fahey's going to be taking phone. This is what happens when you talk to a 16-year-old sometimes. Yeah. But Fahey's going to be taking phone calls, and he's going to be getting your reaction. So whatever the Jets do, if you hate it, if you love it, if you're somewhere in the middle, call up and give your reaction. You know the number by now, and if you don't, follow at the Jet Take. And then, of course, we've got Joe Caporoso's.
I'll shout it out because we have listeners who don't go on Twitter. You can call in 515-739-1285
sure.
and then enter the PIN 261860 with the pounder hash sign. All right, continue.
There you go. And then from there, Joe Caporoso in the morning on Friday is going to have an instant reaction pod. Now, the only place that you can get Joe's reaction is on Thursday is going to be right here on the Jet Take and at turnonthejets.com when he does a written reaction. Then we're going to have the coverage go into a next gear as well on Friday as we have a live edition of Draft Season with Joe Malfa and Dalvin Asario. I'm going to be calling in. Kyle will be calling in. All the characters from TOJ will be calling in to share their thoughts on the Jets' third-round pick. Obviously, you would assume they'll only have one pick on Friday, but anything's possible. Maybe there's a guy they love in the second round who slips. They trade a future first or something. Yeah, or no pick. Who knows? Anything can happen. So that we're going to have the coverage on Friday. Then on Saturday, it's going to be a Stick to the Jets from Connor Rogers that will hit in the morning to recap days 1 and 2. And then Connor's going to take the ball and run with it the rest of the way. He's got live coverage over at Bleacher Report. So it's going to be kind of a turn on the Jets I guess you'd say turn on the Jets / Bleacher Report joint venture of sorts with Connor Rogers taking rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we're going to do a complete recap podcast, giving our thoughts on everything the Jets did throughout the weekend. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do is play like a Jet this week because I feel like if it drops on Friday, which is its normal day, it's going to completely get lost in the draft shuffle. So I'm trying to figure that out. But we do have the final part of our series on 2009 with Thomas Jones, and that'll be instructive because, of course, it was the last time that the Jets picked a quarterback in the top 5 of the draft. That was Mark Sanchez in 2009. Barring something insane, we would assume that's going to happen again tomorrow, that the Jets will pick a quarterback in the top 5. And so this will be the first opportunity for Jets fans to see something similar since 2009. And you can listen to Thomas Jones recall his memories from that season. So very, very busy next couple of days at turnonthejets.com. By the way, on the website, guys, we are going to have constant content, just up-to-the-minute updates on what the Jets are doing, prospect profiles, draft pick recaps, everything. So if you want wall-to-wall coverage of the draft and the Jets in general, you can check out turnonthejets.com and obviously all the podcasts at TOJ Digital. They're all going to be involved. Remember, the Jet Take is live tomorrow night. Kyle Fahey on the controls. Friday, Draft Season is live with Dalvin Asario and Joe Malfa. The Turn on the Jets podcast on Friday morning with Joe Caporoso. You're also going to get Stick to the Jets on Saturday with Connor Rogers. And then you'll probably get a special edition of Play Like a Jet recapping everything on Sunday. So every single Turn on the Jets digital podcast will be involved this weekend. It is going to be a huge one, guys, and I can't wait. I've been waiting for this. Feels like for years. Probably, if you think about it, it really has. As Paulie joked, we've been kind of waiting for decades. The last time that the Jets had a quarterback that it looked like was going to be the real deal, I guess you could say Sanchez, but before that would have been Pennington. Injuries hampered him. Sanchez never developed to what we thought. Hopefully, whoever it is that the Jets pick tomorrow at number 3 turns out to be that guy that Paulie was talking about, the guy that could lead this team for the next 10 to 15 years and be a Pro Bowl level guy. They haven't had that in a damn long time, and so let's keep our fingers crossed. But we are going to have every single nook and cranny covered, both in audio and written form, guys. It's going to be so much fun. And Fahey, I'm so excited I could burst. I hope I don't spontaneously combust on the air with you tomorrow, buddy.
Scott, I have an idea since your podcast is a history podcast. If the Jets select Josh Allen, let's do a history of my life.
I'll tell you what, Fahey, I'm in. We'll do it because you keep saying that you're gonna finish yourself if Allen gets drafted. Well, let's make sure we give you a proper send off then.
You could have worded that so much better.
Yeah, but I was trying to go with the somewhat PG version, and I kind of found myself in no man's land. That was one of those. I was trying to go one way, I zigged it.
Josh Allen land right there.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, you guys might have actually, in fact, Ben, believe it or not, although I don't know if you consider this a plus or a minus, my man, but you may have actually saved Fahey's life because by exposing those tweets,
Ben,
you may have
yourself.
caused him. Yeah, Ben, you just may have screwed yourself because by exposing those tweets, if Allen falls in the draft, Fahey doesn't kill himself, and now Nania can't take over the Jet Take with you.
Mm-hmm.
My freaking plan. Ruined. I'm just kidding. No,
Foiled again.
I'll co-host the Jet Take with Kyle for a decade if it means the Jets don't pick Josh Allen. Quote me. Scott, it was a pleasure.
Wow, you must really not want Josh Allen.
I'm not agreeing to that. Come on now.
You guys can follow Scott at PlayLikeAJet1 on Twitter. We're still waiting for him to change his name. But Play Like a Jet Podcast is the name.
Man, stop trying to change people. Maybe just accept who they are. Maybe you'll be successful.
All right, maybe. Scott, it was a pleasure having you on, man. We look forward to hearing from you next week when the Jets have drafted their quarterback.
Absolutely. Ben, listen, I'll tell you what. Are you going to have access to, can you text tomorrow, or what's the deal? Are you going to be in the woods or something?
We'll see. I will be able to see who they pick first, but then the rest of the weekend, I don't know.
Okay, because here's what I'm thinking. I know you can't call in, but if you see who they pick, why don't you at least shoot Fahey or I a text so that we can read your reaction on the air?
All right, that sounds good.
Scott, I was explaining this to Ben, but I had a wonderful idea of just spamming the group chat with, I can't believe we took Josh Allen. Why would the Jets do this? How stupid is the franchise? And to just have Ben's phone flooded with notifications from our group chat that says Josh Allen.
You really are mean sometimes, Fahey. You know how to get to a guy, don't you?
I was explaining that to Ben, I think it was last week towards the end of the episode. I was like, I don't think I'm that devious. I don't think I could morally do that. I would have to text Ben, hey, we're joking, by the way. I was like, that would be mean.
All right.
There's a limit to even Fahey's deviousness.
I could probably kill Ben if I wanted to, but I wouldn't do that to him. I wouldn't tell him to pick Josh Allen.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Fahey.
We're threatening murder now on the air. Very good.
Scott training me for Blessington versus Fahey.
Let's get into that real quickly to close the show, by the way.
Scott, no. It's 10:40. I'm tired. I have a test tomorrow. We're done.
Well,
you're going to be sleeping once I get done with training Ben. Let me tell you that much.
I'll be sleeping if we pick Josh Allen. Let's go.
All right. Scott, it was great to have you on. We're looking forward to talking to you on Wednesday when the Jets have hopefully selected Josh Rosen. But in your case, Baker Mayfield, and even to a lesser extent, I'll take Sam Darnold as well.
Sure. Yeah, any of the three. For me, preferably Mayfield. Rosen's fine. Darnold's fine. Not Josh Allen, please. And let's see how this thing. If we're gonna make a bold prediction, here's what I'm gonna say. I don't know how bold this is, but to cap it off, let's all make one bold prediction. I'm gonna say that Lamar Jackson goes in the top 15, and you are going to see 5 quarterbacks go in the top 15 of this draft.
Wow.
Yeah, I see that as well. Scott, really quickly, I know you said you don't know who it's going to be, but the guy we haven't talked about that's been your guy has been Darnold. Is that the pick?
I think Darnold goes first. I think Darnold's going to go first.
All right. So you're predicting Mayfield?
Man. I feel like if I say that, I'm jinxing it. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it could be either one.
Okay. All right. Scott, great to hear from you, man. Scott Mason for the Play Like a Jet podcast.
Thank you, Ben. I'll talk to you next week. Please text us your thoughts. And Kyle, you and I will start things off tomorrow. It's going to be a blast, buddy.
Yep.
All right, Scott Mason and Kyle, we are ready to wrap this show up.
I'm so done.
Yeah, I know it's 10:40. We went a little long, but it was a special episode. We had a big interview with Darron Lee. Okay, first round pick 2 years ago. We obviously have the big draft tomorrow and this weekend. Good luck to you. Hosting the show. My apologies to our listeners that I couldn't be there.
It's okay.
Yeah, I guess they're rejoicing as they get to hear more of Kyle Fahey.
I'm just happy that I get to put makeup on, honestly, for being honest.
Yes, Kyle will be wearing makeup.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice pastel. I'm bringing out my Sunday best. I mean, I'm going to look good.
We'll go ahead and you can follow us at the Jet Take on Twitter. That's the best place to follow us. You can also listen to our show on any sort of place you listen to podcasts. Just search the Jet Take, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher. We're all over the place. Just look our name up. All right, Kyle. And tomorrow at this time, we will know who the future face of the franchise is. Let's just hope we like him. Scott or Kyle, I guess any last words?
God damn it.
Yeah, the cough, sorry.
I can't believe you called me Scott. That stir fry that I went to go get, my dad ate the rest of it.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Wow.
I was pissed.
At least you get to spread the Josh Allen tweets with him.
I did. I woke him up. I screamed. I'm like, "Are you up?" He woke up like somebody was breaking into the house. He's like, "What?" I was like, "Josh Allen's career is over." He goes, "What?" I was like, "He's tweeting." He's like, "Is it racist?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, crap."
Damn. All right. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Jet Take. I'm Ben Blessington with Kyle Fahey. We will talk to you guys next week when the Jets will have made their pick. Let's hope we don't look back on the soundbite as too optimistic and hopeful podcast hosts that are about to get royally screwed. Let's hope the Jets actually land the pick. We'll leave you with the best chant in the National Football League. Go Jets.
Everybody signed my petition to get Josh Allen banned within 5 miles of a school.
Okay, also, besides that, I'm beating Fahey 1-on-1 in basketball. Better hooper.